to the offer, whatever suits your time and zone. Again, it is the Blue Morning Show, so I must say to you, Blue Morning, I hope you're all doing well, and I sincerely do hope so. And today I have with me my co-host, should be joining the Chelsea Perspective team, Louisa. Louisa, welcome to the panel. How are you doing today?
I'm very fine. Thank you, Coach Sheila, for that introduction.
Brilliant, brilliant. I can't, wait to get started with you on the panel. We have quite a lot to talk about. Let me just share the screen so I'll be able to get it. First, we'll talk about Matthijs de Ligt. We'll talk about, what's his name? The Ivory Coast International. What's his name again? Okay, we'll talk about Rice. We'll talk about Koulibaly, Gabriel Jesus. And why am I forgetting this brother's name? Welcome to the panel, Tobago. How are you doing? I think I can't hear him, but are you doing good? Thank you. What's the name of the CDM we're going for? The Ivory Coast International, Sangare, Ibrahim Sangare. So we'll talk about them, and then also we'll see if there's any other update regarding Ousmane Dembele's move to Chelsea and Jules Kounde, where we'll also talk about it. And while you're at it, please, if you're in the chat, if you haven't, be sure to like the video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and let me know how the sound is. If you're hearing any unusual sound, please do let me know so that I can fix it immediately. I want us to start talking right away. This news here. Tobago, do you know the goalkeeper very well? Okay, it looks like before he unmutes it takes him a while to unmute his phone because he's using his cell phone. I don't know him too well, but I heard a few days ago that we were going for him. And then again, I heard that Real Madrid, that they had overtaken us because they did put in a bid why we haven't actually made our interest clear. But now I'm hearing that Chelsea have made a better offer than Real Madrid for Chicago Fire's goalkeeper Gabrial Slonina, to me, which indicates that Kepa Arrizabalaga will most definitely leave the club, because I've argued that he will leave. Your thoughts on, I don't know, you and I haven't talked about this before, Louisa. I want to ask you your thoughts on Kepa Arrizabalaga's situation at Chelsea.
Oh, it's actually quite unfortunate for him, because he was like the next hot stop coming in after we sold Coutinho, and everyone was like, he's going to be his replacement and even better. So his own kind of ups and downs at Chelsea is won us some trophies, which we are very thankful for. But I feel like it got to a point where it was never stable, and Mendy coming in, he became second choice. Even some cup competitions where he could have started, some Premier League fixtures where he could have started as a second choice, he was not really seen as, he was seen as a distant second to Mendy. It wasn't really seen as, okay, both him and Mendy are like first, second, and just that Mendy was on a better form than him. It just felt like we're having a professional goalkeeper and an academic graduate, and he never really got any good reading to go on. And then he came in for his specialty, which is penalty kicks against Liverpool, and we know how that ended. So it never really went his way at Chelsea after some time.
Would you say it is his fault, or do you think Thomas Tuchel hasn't handled the goalkeeping department selection properly? Because I'd argue, again, I'm talking about this because we're looking at the Chicago Fire goalkeeper. Chicago Fire's goalkeeper, which means to me indicates that the Kepa Arrizabalaga will most definitely leave, or will probably leave, to be on the safer side. I'd say Thomas Tuchel didn't handle the selection process quite well. He made Mendy feel like a god, but he made Kepa Arrizabalaga feel like he's not important. Even, this is something I've talked about here, but it makes sense to talk about it now because we alluded to the fact that he may well leave the club. He was our goalkeeper in the semi-final of the Club World Cup, and it was his brilliance, you could argue, was the reason why we made it to the final. And Mendy, who returned from AFCON, went straight between the sticks. To me, I don't think that was fair. But that's, by the way, I think we should just move on from it. I hate talking about it because I don't want to start any argument that I'm not going to win, especially against Bobby in the chat. Yep. But let me try and
No, but
catch
I'm with
because
you on
this.
this one.
Yeah,
I'm with you
yeah,
on this
I know.
one.
Yeah, that's why I agree. I agree you're with me because I heard the response you gave. But you want to add anything before I go to the chat because this is an interactive show. What we do is we talk on the panel and we look at what's in the chat and we try to address some of the inputs from those in the chat.
Yeah, because the same thing, you could argue that Mendy was not really the best at AFCON.
Mm-hmm.
I think he got if Egypt had gotten the trophy, they would have given
Mm-hmm.
it to their.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went from just putting an average performance at AFCON to coming in to start in this final ahead of Kepa, who had been every opportunity Kepa had gotten. All Kepa's games this season were actually they were on point. There was no
Mm-hmm.
point where it was like, he had a shitty performance. He had really good
Yeah.
performance with average players because most times when we play the cup competitions, we put in Sa, we put Chaloba. He doesn't even get to really start with Thiago Silva and Rudiger that much, which is
Mm-hmm.
testament to how well he's handling his situation. Then Mendy came in during Premier League performance. The second half of the season, he was just putting in some very average and below average performance, and Kepa was still not getting any game time, even with Mendy not being in form. So I feel like Tuchel didn't really get down to, okay, there's a competition in here. It made Mendy feel like there was no competition for game time against him. So he wasn't putting
Mm-hmm.
in the best performance. Last season, Mendy knew that him and Kepa, they were coming in on the same level, so he had to put in the best. This season, it felt like Mendy was going to be on the team sheet as far as he was healthy.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's the same way I did present my argument, but that's what I do. Let's move beyond that. Yes, it's a good thing if we're gonna. I don't know how good the goalkeeper in question is. I hope he's good. But let me try and catch up with the chat. And again, to reintroduce Louisa. Louisa will be joining the Chelsea Perspective team. She'll be leading the way in terms of us covering the women's team. She knows them very well, and we'll be bringing on some guests when she starts. Maybe we introduce a show for her. Tobago, you have anything to say? Should I go ahead with catching up with the chart?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, crystal clear.
Yes, I think this coming December is a World Cup year, so Kepa should go where he will be more valued because, as you said, most of the time last season, Mendy made a lot of mistakes, and then we thought Kepa will come in for him, but that never happened. So clearly, Mendy I will say this, is a god for Tuchel. No one will replace him. So
yeah,
we
he's
need
a preferred option.
Yes, so I would say we don't need a player similar to Mendy because clearly, if you're going to get a good goalkeeper again, he'll still be number two. We'd rather have a backup goalkeeper, which we don't like to use here. But unfortunately, in this situation, we have to get a backup keeper, and then Kepa is a good
Yeah.
goalkeeper. So also his wages are killing us. We need to sell him and just forget about him, unfortunately. But he did good for us. Like even under Tuchel, he improved himself. So anyway, it is what it is. We should let it go.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm letting it go. I'm not I'm not up for that fight again. I'm gonna quickly catch up with the chat and I'll come back to Louisa to give us updates on the two players she talked about that the women's team have signed, how well she thinks they do for us, whether at this time they'd help us win the Champions League. And Liam Lane here says, Blue Morning Coach and everyone joining the panel. Liam, always nice to see you. I hope everything is good on your end. Reports say Inter Milan chief in London for talks. Again, that's one conversation I really do not want to get into because it is a very, very complicated, or let me say, it will be a complicated deal because we still owe Inter Milan money. And he's going to take a wage cut, and we end up paying him 200K a week to score goals for Inter Milan. From what I'm hearing, and not sure what's going on. And then there are other reports that make it sound like it's never going to happen. But I hope it does. Sounds is okay, Coach. Thank you very much to hear that from you, Liam. Why is Dembele not playing in the French national team? You could argue with the whole thing going on with him, his contract saga. You could phrase it that way. At Barcelona, it's not easy. Those things are enough to weigh on him, weigh heavily on him. I think the French national team, they have good enough players to bring in players, to play in his stead and still do well. So they're not going to miss him, if you want to phrase it that way. Good morning and big up my Chelsea family, straight from Jamaica. Ebanks, nice to see you again. Always nice to see you. I hope you are doing well. Blue morning, hope everyone is doing. And that is my brother, CFC Fahim. If you haven't, please be sure to go check out his channel and subscribe. He's approaching 1,000 subs, and we can help him get there as soon as possible. We should assign a Rice. Again, that's your argument. Some people think otherwise. Is he a good player? I think he's a good player. But if you ask me, haven't followed Tuchel for a while, I'd argue I don't think he'll be the perfect signing for him. But you never know. If he wants him, which means he'd be able to put him to good use. Big up the panel, big up Kuchila, big up to you too, Deal CFC. Nice to see you here. Good morning, big up chat. Says, besides the ups and downs, other than the Carabao Cup final, Kepa has been so professional. He's been. That surprisingly, he hasn't complained. And during the FA Cup final, we knew he wasn't going to come, and he was speaking to Mendy, probably sharing ideas with him. Or maybe he knows the sites that the Liverpool players will go with the penalties or something like that. Yes, you're right. He's been a professional about it. Welcome one and all. And Kadesha Buchanan, did I say the name right? Buchanan, yeah. Welcome to Chelsea. Yep. And then I think Louisa will talk about her more. Again, we should assign a Neymar Jr. Again, signing Neymar isn't easy. Neymar comes with quite a lot of baggage. He's on a lot of his wage, a very high wage, plus the Premier League might not be suitable for him. And like Declan has said here on the panel, that if he comes and things aren't going his way, he will, go back to his former way of diving to try to get things to go his way. I don't think we'll get Neymar. Big up Astrid Pierre says CFC for him. CFC for him again. Show the love to the channel you are a part of and touch the like button. Yes, we're family here. We operate as a unit, and that's why we're strong, and that's why we're growing really fast. And we are approaching 3,000 likes, and I think we'll get there within just 3-4 days. But you can help us reach there as quickly as possible. And that is, by the way, the queen of all streams. Here says DCFC, I feel like at the center back area, experience is key. That's very important because we lost Rudy Christensen and Aspi. May leave. This is why I think getting Koulibaly is important along with Kounde. Yeah, Kounde, you could argue, even though he's young, he's experienced because he's played quite a lot of games. And Koulibaly will make a huge difference. Good afternoon, David, my brother from India, says good afternoon. Breaking news, Liverpool have completed the signing of Darwin Núñez. I hope he does well there. I hope he sets the Premier League on fire. Kepa, not good enough competition for Mendy. We need a good enough competition. And you think the guy we're looking at from the MLS will be good enough? We'll see. Good morning. Why Chelsea ask not sign? I'm not sure what you're talking about there. I think if you must remember that we were under restrictions, which didn't allow us, to put pen to paper in terms of signing players, but we were able to talk with them, but not sign them. Okay? De Ligt, Kounde, Ramangoli, Bissouma, Dembele, Jorginho, and Sa, and Alonso, Ian Matson as backup. To again, some good suggestion by you, but I don't think the changes are not going to be that many. Because if it is that many, then we will struggle come next season. Coming back to the panel, Louisa, I want to ask you, can you tell us more about the two people, the two girls that the women's team signed, the position they play, and how important they will be for Emma Hayes? Emma Hayes, did I pronounce her name right? Emma Hayes.
Emma Hayes.
Yes.
Emma Hayes going into the next season.
Yeah, it's actually kind of wonderful that we did get to sign people this early, because with the way the men were going back and forth, I thought maybe it was something with going on with the board that was restricting the signing, and they were trying to dot their I's and cross their T's. So we signed Yves Bissouma. She's a French national player. She has been called up for the Euros. Yeah. She's been called up for the Euros. She played with Lyon, PSG, and now she's playing with Chelsea. She's actually our first French player, because usually they don't like to come over to England because of maybe language barrier or the difference in the league. She's Chelsea's first French player on the women's side. And Yves Bissouma plays mostly right back, but she's had experience also playing left back in the national team and with Bordeaux. So, and the way it is, Emma is a very funny coach, in the sense that you may come in as one style of player and you would leave as another style of player, because she's going to use you all over the pitch in every single place that she knows that you can play. So, and Emma has already alluded to her putting her in the midfield, which is kind of funny because we do need midfielders, and I'm kind of wondering if Emma didn't sign her to come and be the midfielder, maybe like a defensive midfielder, because she usually plays in that defensive role. And at her former club, she's the one that takes the set piece, free kicks, corner kicks. So I'm kind of hoping she's coming in as kind of our set piece specialist, because she's got some good crosses from the matches I watched at Bordeaux. And that is going to create competition in the women's side for people like Mara Meyer, also Niamh Charles. That's also a young England player that we have, but she's not really getting a lot of minutes at the moment because of the experience we do have and the talent we do have in the team. Then we got Kadisha Buchanan. That's just a Canadian national team player. She just won gold.
No wonder. I watched her interview, and her English is excellent. So she's Canadian.
Yeah, she's Canadian. And she played in France with Lyon for 5.5 years. And it was kind of surprising when we were linked to the Kadisha Buchanan, because Real Madrid was going after her, and it almost felt like it was a done deal at Real Madrid till we got in, and I was like, wow, we actually pulled that off. And I'm like, MIS is doing something with the team. She's picking the positions we do need to fill, because Kadisha Buchanan, she plays at centre back, but we do have experienced players at the centre back, players who consistently make the FIFA 11 team of the year. So that's just going to create more competition, which is going to be better for us as a squad, because now every player is going to come in with their A game. And then there were talks on Twitter yesterday about Chelsea buying the women's league because we keep on spending money. I'm like, why not buying these players?
The usual nonsense about Chelsea.
We are not even buying the players to win the league. We're buying these players to win the Champions League. The domestic league is just coming as a collateral damage to our hope for European dominance. Because if you are the best in Europe, you automatically become the best in your domestic league.
Yeah, but there's something you said, because I'll be sincere. All I know is that Emma Hayes is a very good coach. I don't know her too much. I accept almost all the time whenever Sylvia is in the chat here. She keeps talking about Emma Hayes. She keeps praising her. I do praise her too, but I don't know her quite well. There's something you said that it looks like she likes utility players who are able to play in multiple positions. Is that the case?
That's actually the case, because if you find out, the only players who've never played out of position in Chelsea are usually the goalkeepers. And our goalkeepers in 2020/2021 season, our goalkeeper had an assist for a winning goal. Same with last season, our goalkeeper had an assist for a winning goal, because she just needs that versatility, that mentality that okay, this is what the team needs, this is what I'm going to do. Those are the kind of players that Emma usually goes after, not players that are like set in their ways that I must be doing this, I must be doing that. The most expensive signing in the women's transfer is at Chelsea women, and she's like a top goal. She came in as a top goal scorer, even in the Champions League. She got to the Champions League final. She came in as a top goal scorer, but Emma plays her behind our strikers now. She's kind of like the creative machine in the team right now. She's not getting in that much goals because she's not getting in those positions that she used to get to at her former club. Now the creative force behind our main striker, which is Sam Kerr. So, and Sam Kerr and England, they basically were the same kind of player when Sam Kerr signed with Chelsea. But now Emma has found a way to use both of them in the same game at the same time by playing them from the wings.
Yeah, she's brilliant. She's brilliant. I even said the other day that I hope to see her manage the men's team someday. And it was somebody in the chat, so no, she doesn't actually want to leave the women's team. But that's by the way. I'm going to catch up to the with the chat. Again, let's start by asking, I don't know, I'm going to, what's his name? Gitonga David. I will highlight this question here, and I'll try to come back to it later on because we have quite a lot to talk about. And here, the Queen of All Stream, Stribby says the boss did say he will make the ladies strong. Nice. Again, says 48 people watching now. Actually, we have 50 people watching, and we have just 19 likes. So if you haven't, please do take a second to like the video. The more you like the video, the more the YouTube algorithm will be triggered, and the stream will be pushed to more people who would be interested in this particular stream. And then the more fun it will be if we have more people here. Says the ladies team is on fire. They are. They've been winning quite a lot, and they've dominated the Premier League, just unlike the men's team. What we see is patches of success here and there. We win the league this season, and then the next 4 years, we're not going to win the league. That has broken my heart, if you ask me. The ladies team is on fire. That's the truth. Says if we can get Koulibaly, that would be huge. He's better than Rudiger. He's been a world class for years. Let's not forget that. Thank you. Here's my argument about that input right there. Is Koulibaly good? Yes, it's good. Will he do better than Rudiger in the left centre back position? I don't think so. It remains to be seen. If he comes in and he does better than him in that position, then I'll take it. But right now, I don't think he will be able to do better than Rudiger there. But I'd still like us to get him. Says, yeah, I agree, but CB position was an issue when captain was out. So it's good to see the defense strengthened. Yeah, it makes that's a strategic signing for Emma Hayes. Hello, Blue family watching from Namibia. Nice to see you here, my African brother. I hope things are good on your end. Again, saying hello to Joseph, saying again, saying she's brilliant down. Yep, you know the player better than I do. Hello, the Blues. Another day for Chelsea to monitor, seduce, link, and submit an interest on all, in all players. Again, it is Chelsea Football Club. If in fact the transfer window opens and we're not linked to every player on planet Earth, then you're not talking about Chelsea Football Club. A share to the world. Yes, people, if you're watching right now, we have 22 likes, and we can do better than that. If you haven't, please do take a second to like the video. It doesn't cost anything. And if anybody asks you to pay, tell them Stribia had already paid for you. And while you are at it, please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Says here, he will be a good replacement for Thiago Silva. Yeah, you could say that because of his experience. Coach Ima turned down the chance to manage Wimbledon men's side to stay at Chelsea. That shows you how much she loves the club, and in particular the women's team. Says, just want to see some new players coming for Chelsea men. She at the same time laughing at us because she said how happy she was the other day that the women's team signed their second player while the men haven't signed any. Now, I want to ask you this before we move ahead. Louisa, the two players this time, are you guys, the women's, are they done with their business, or do you think they're looking to sign more players?
No, we're actually looking to get him some more players and then try and see some more talent for our academy. Right now, we're short on signings in our midfield, so I think they are going to get some signings in the midfield. And I'm seeing some impossible names being thrown around, but I'm not going to doubt MIAs because I've seen her pull some kind of good stunts. So there are some names that were being linked with that feels like it's such a far reach because they are world-class players, and it feels like it's going to be a very big window if we do get them plus the two we've already gotten. It's like that's crazy.
I actually didn't know that the women's team, they have an academy.
Oh, we do have an academy. We have a development squad. We have under 18, under 16. No, we do have an under 16. We don't have an under 18 because we use the under 18 for our development squad. Then we do have an under 16 that plays in the under 18 league. And they are quite good actually because they do have some trophies to their names from the previous seasons.
Tobago, you wanted to say something? All right.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Let's start. Okay, let's start by talking. Let's get into business now. That is to the men's side, which is, and again, Luisa, thank you very much for that update. I know you're still with us, right? So I may come with you with some question. Do you know De Ligt very well?
Yeah, I've seen him play for this Juventus quite for some time right now, and it's like it feels like a good signing, but at the same time, I'm always skeptical when we do get in players from other leagues because sometimes it's just not translating the way they are dominant in the other league is in the Premier League, because Premier League is quite. I don't want to use words that will make me sound like I feel like Premier League is the best, but it's quite demanding and it kind of needs the next level. It needs a player to get to the next level when you are not already like one of the top players.
Yeah, the Premier League is physically demanding. The pace is very different. Again, I understand you avoiding using the language, the best league in the world. You could say the toughest. That works. It is the toughest. Again, one thing about De Ligt is this: he's a good player. He's a really, really, really good player. And at his age, he's showing how good he can be. He can lead. He's got that leadership. He's a natural leader. He's a natural leader. That's one thing about De Ligt. And he wouldn't even know that he's so young. Again, how old is he again? I think it's 21, 22, or 23. I'm not sure.
22.
Let me check.
22.
22. So he's still quite young. And if you see what he's able to do on the pitch, you'd be thinking that he's, like in 24, 25. And he's played so much games. And with that number of games comes experience. But here's where I'm concerned. The rumors are that we're really looking at De Ligt. That Thomas Tuchel wants him. And there's a chance if Thomas Tuchel really wants him, then Todd Boehly will get him for him. Why do I say that? Because he's a fine player, and I think he's good on the ball, which is the most important attribute that you must have to thrive in Thomas Tuchel's 11. But here's where I have a problem here. Now, he's reluctant to sign a new deal at Juventus. Why is that? He's asking them to reduce the release clause that they have on his contract, which is 120 million plus, and that's too much. So that's where I've looked at it. I don't think we'll be paying even 100 million, even 80 or 90 million for a defender. And at such a young age, I think that fee could put unnecessary pressure on him. So I want to get your thought, Luisa, before I go to Tobago.
Yeah, exactly. And right now, because we are owned by not just a single man that is seeing us like maybe a hobby where it just puts in cash, we're not owned by a business, essentially. And the business needs to provide returns. Buying a defender at 100 million, 80, I feel like the highest Chelsea would be around that 70 to 80 range, which he's trying to get down because he knows that's going to hinder him, just like the case with Rice. Rice wants to leave West Ham, but his price tag right now just seems like it's insane. and that pressure of, okay, you are worth this much, you need to perform. And Chelsea fans are so impatient. They want quick results, and they are not going to wait for him. And another issue I have with getting De Ligt, not like an issue, but one of my problems right now is that what I've seen from Thomas and his team is that there is a specific kind of player that works in a specific kind of system. It doesn't like change. It's not a very it's not a very flexible kind of pattern coach. So it feels like there are some risk transfers that we're going to get right now that would be good players, but might not necessarily fit into the squad for them to get the result we need, which is getting a trophy, potentially winning the Premier League, which is what we all want.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. We must pay attention. I think I would just say simply, let the scouts do their job. Again, if you ask me, I'd say they're the reason why, I'm trying not to name the person, and I'm not going to do that. They're the reason why we signed a player for 100 million plus, and it still hasn't worked out. And he's refused to change the system to accommodate the player. And it's not like the player is a bad player. He would do well in certain systems, in certain teams, but it just hasn't worked. You get me? Tobago, your thoughts on the possibility of us signing De Ligt before I go back to the chat.
First of all, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. About De Ligt, my issue is the
just quickly go
price
ahead.
tag.
Quickly, I want to go outside and take care of something. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Just go ahead.
Okay. My issue with De Ligt is the price tag, but rather than that, he's a good player. He's a leader, and then also is a player who can play position football. So having a new leader in our club will benefit us. So yeah, I will take him, but only if they can reduce the price. But I don't see Juventus reducing that price. So we'll wait and see. Also, maybe giving them you can talk.
Yeah, we do need some leaders in the squad now that Rudiger is gone. Kante is getting a more reduced role. We know we can't rely on Thiago Silva for that long, because I do love him, but it's so sad that he came to Chelsea at the later stage of his career. And we do need leaders in the dressing room also, which I'm hearing De Ligt is one of them. So that's going to be a big up to us if we do get him. But I feel like his price tag is going to really restrict the kind of movement we can make on him. But I'm also hearing that Todd and his consortium, they want a marquee signing. I don't think we're going to get a defender as a marquee signing, but at the same time, we have so many strikers that it feels like we're either going to get the marquee signing in the midfield or in the defense.
Yeah, it's a question again, for you. Yeah, go ahead, Tobago.
But again, remember, Jorginho is linked to Juventus and other teams in Serie A. How about we give them Jorginho and cash, and we get our man?
But that's the thing. Swap signings.
Yeah, go ahead, Louisa. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the thing. Swap signings really work because each team is trying to see how they can get one over on the other one and see where they can like pinch the pennies and the rest. It's usually kind of it's usually, and so at the end of the day, it usually does not work. Chelsea has really made a signing where they exchanged the player with cash for another player. And if we are going to give Jorginho, I think has like one year left on his contract, or two. I think one, because he was supposed to go next summer for free. It's not even going. I don't think we can get Jorginho. Is Jorginho up to 60 million right now in the market?
No, he's not.
It can't be more than 50, and De Ligt is at 120. So I feel like Chelsea giving Jorginho plus 70 million for De Ligt is going to be quite something, and we might never get a defender. If we want to get a defender from another club, we might never get a defender below 60 million.
For De Ligt, I think the fact that the release clause is 120 doesn't mean we'll pay 120 for him. but at least it will be close to 100. Again, my point is, I think one other thing I wanted to talk about is this. These guys know we're kind of desperate, no matter how we see it. We're desperate, and it's clear to the whole world that we're desperate. So, any for any businessman or clubs, that have some brains, they will look at us and know, yeah, we really want this player, and they're not going to budge in terms of the price. And again, I think there's a good chance we say, okay, you take Jorginho plus cash. I think there's a chance that works. But would Thomas Tuchel want to let Jorginho go? We don't know. He actually likes him. He actually likes Jorginho playing the team because he helps him, the way he likes to play, dominate in terms of keeping the ball. But that's, by the way, I'm going to try and catch up with the chat and come back to the panel and ask Declan what he thinks. And I will also ask the chat some questions. Right now, we have 69 people watching, and we have just 35 likes. So if you haven't, please take a second to like the video. Keep liking the video, please. Like the video to show appreciation to the channel, to those on the panel, and to the mod. Like the video so that we'll be able to reach more people, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Again, going back here, let me see. Have any news today? I think it's nothing new. The only news we saw is that Chelsea, they put in a bid that's more than what Real Madrid are willing to pay for the Chicago Fire's goalkeeper, and that's it. And Gail, yeah, thank you. Yep, thank you very much for that. Luis is part of the Chelsea. She'll be joining the Chelsea Perspective team. Tribute says Chelsea confirmed defender Christensen departs the club. Yes, I've read that too. Musonda, who again they talked about, Antonio Rudiger too, and the others. Sure, he could play that role, but he's a better CV. I agree with you. For De Ligt, Juve wants a lot of money. Did we break the bank on him? No, we haven't signed him yet. We haven't even. I don't think we've even contacted Juve at this point. But let me just catch up with the chat. And Tuchel to youth and Tuchel together. I hope that happens. It's high. It's high. We also start adding release clauses on important players like Reece James. I think we should. Again, I'm hearing rumors, but I don't want to talk about that right now. Again, I just want to spank Arsenal Tottenham. I knew you'd say that. If you didn't say that, I'd ask you for your ID. It should be easy on Arsenal. They suffered enough. Yeah. They have indeed. The point of De Ligt wanting the buyout reducing before signing is so he can move cheaper or walk away free later. Ignore the price tag. It wouldn't be that high. Yes, like I said a minute ago, it won't be that high. But the truth is, it will be high. And remember, his current contract expires in 2024, which means he still have like 2.5 years left on his contract. So even if they reduce the buyout clause, it's still, if he extends, it probably goes to 2026, which even makes it even difficult, to get him to the club. But then again, like we said, like I said before, I think to me, from my own perspective, he qualifies as a marquee signing, but it remains to be seen whether the club will be willing to spend that much money on a young defender. The board said they want some marquee signings too. They said, who will be that? We don't know. And the way I'm seeing things this transfer window, it's looking like at the end of the day, we'll see some surprises. We'll see some surprises. The club may well sign players we don't even know they were looking at. At least 2 I heard. Yep, 2 marquee signings. Smash the like button, says Matthew Lee Benjamin. We have 38 likes while we have 78 people watching. We can do better than that. So keep liking the video. And my brother Ty Talks, hey everyone, blue morning to you to Ty Talks. And please, if you have time, go and check his YouTube channel, great content, and believe me, you'll like it. Again, what do I have here? I think my screen is frozen again. Okay, Matt, I'll get back to you in a bit. Juggy would suit Juventus. Yep, they've I think they wanted him last year. They're serious about it. If they're serious about it, then we may well do a deal that involves them sending De Ligt our way, but it's not going to be that simple. It will be complicated. Hello, Ty says, will Juventus De Ligt leave considering Chiellini is just retired, and age is catching up with him. I'm not sure I understand this quite well. I think he may well leave, but I'm not sure because I don't really understand your questions. They already said Jorginho as part of the deal, even if it's only 2030 for Jorginho, the Ligt won't be 120. Yep, that's correct. And I know you've said that before, but at least it will be high. Would love to see the stadium plans. And in terms of the stadium plans, I think who said that Todd Boehly, he met with Roman Abramovich engineers, the guys that I think responsible for the original drawing. So to me, meeting with them simply means he probably has a plan to change the structure. Again, I don't know if it was the Declan that says that. Good morning, Blues family. Good morning to you too. GM Phillips. Okay. Says good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to you too, my and Declan. Good morning to you too, Nick. Nice to see you here, brother. I hope you're doing well. Morning, Phillips is nice. I think I'm going to skip a few comments here. Now, I was saying that Juve wants a lot of money. Yeah, they do, and I think I understood that too. I'm going to skip a lot here so that I can catch up. If I keep reading everything, I may not be able to read them all by the end of the game. So speculation FC, yep. Again, that's hilarious. Let me see if there's anything else to read here. Says it cannot get worse than Manchester United. Be happy. Yep. Again, you can say they're in a dire situation, but with Eric Ten Hag, I think things will turn around as long as they get him the players he wants. Big up to you too, my brother. Nice to see you here. I know you just hosted the show a few minutes ago, so it's not easy to even join here. Bring me Kounde, Koulibaly, delete all Kimpembe. I'm hearing that we're also interested in Kimpembe, but we'll see up front. Can we have Dembele, Jesus with Broya? We'll see what happens. Again, Cavallo, Thomas de Ligt, Leboeuf, Alex Gallas, foreign centre backs. Okay, I think he's having a different conversations here. So I'm going to skip everything and get to the bottom of it. Declan, coming to you, your thoughts on our pursuit of the lead, and do you think it's the one that's going to happen?
Good morning.
Good morning to you. I can't complain, man. You sound like the happiest person on earth.
Yeah, when you wake up from a nap, yeah. Just I feel like I'm in your time zone now. So today I had an interesting title. I wanted to join.
Yeah. Your thoughts on the lead?
To be honest, I don't see this one happening.
Why do you think it won't happen?
I don't feel Juventus needs to sell.
What if he wants to leave?
Like he might want to leave, but I don't think Juventus wants to sell, especially if they're aging defenders. They paid a lot for him. He's on a big wage. He's one for the future for them. I can't see Juventus wanting to let him go.
So it wouldn't make sense selling him.
Yeah, so if he's really pushing for it, then and he puts a transfer request and all that, and then Juventus would have to sell him this time around. But I haven't seen anything. I don't know if he wants to leave. And he's only been there for what, 2 seasons.
If you don't think he wants to leave, why is he asking that they reduce the release clause?
If that's the case, then yeah, I didn't hear about that one. But if that's the case, then yeah, he wants to move.
Yeah, he's reluctant to sign a new deal. He's asking them to reduce it before he signs.
So he's saying that for his new deal, yeah?
Yep, he's not going to sign except if they reduce that.
Yeah, so the reason Juventus want a high release clause so that he stays for the long term, but he's looking for an exit. He's looking for a possible exit in the future. In terms of now, I'm not sure if he wants to leave. I think they'll find the compromise, but if he wants to step up now, so he's obviously looking like he can step up to one of the big clubs, a bigger club in the future if Juventus is not it. Because Juventus, you don't know, Juventus could be a more of a powerhouse in the next 3-4 seasons if they do everything right, and then he'll stay there. And Juventus want that, so Juventus want to keep him. So I think there's too many factors that, unless he really wants out now, then Juventus will have to sell him on his second season, or at the risk of going to the final season. But I still don't see it. I think there's too much Juventus.
I think the person that's trying to get me to change my mind, I think, is True Blue. I think if you look at it from the perspective, he's asking them to reduce the release clause for him to sign a new deal. That shows he wants it to be easier for him to leave in the future, not right now. So I think you make a very good, solid argument. So to you overall, you think it's one that even if it happens, it's not going to be easy, right?
Yeah, I just think there's I don't know, the desire of him wanting to step up. So is there a massive difference for him to come into a younger Chelsea team from Juventus? Is there, and Juventus obviously are trying to rebuild the team as well, so they're reluctant to leave. I mean, if it was like a prime team, like, everyone's going to Real Madrid, and it's hard to say no to them sometimes. You could say that's the case, but or even I don't know, PSG, Bayern Munich, if Man City or Liverpool came for him, maybe he's like, I'm ready to step up. But is Chelsea the big project to step back into? I mean, there has to be some other factors for him to.
There has to be. I think it's a part. There's a chance it happens, but it's going to be really, really difficult. So let me ask you this quickly before I go to Tobago. What if the Ligt doesn't work? What are the other defenders should we be looking at? Well, because we're looking at him as as a rotating player with Thiago Silva, isn't it? Because he can lead the back line comfortably.
Well, I thought he was more suited to the left and right centre backs because of how that it's kind of what you see at Juventus, where you have one of the older defenders there, and he does all the legwork for him, kind of like what Rudiger did for Silva in a way. And that's what he was good at. He was really good aggression. But I mean, with experience, he could probably play anywhere in the back in this system. So I felt like he could do it all. But in terms of not getting him, we've been linked to so many names of centre backs.
But I think he's one of the most, you could say, pronounced rumors out there. He's one of the most entitled defenders who are linked, and that's why I'm surprised. Even though we're hearing the current release clause is 120 million plus, he's the most talked. He was one of the most talked about that we're linked with.
It would be great if it happens. I'll be honest. It would be great. I don't think it would be cheap. It probably would be a statement signing if it happened. And like I said, I hope it happens, because then not only probably there's other factors to get out of Juventus, but he obviously sees Chelsea as a really good one, and that'd be good because he's the similar age as our other young stars, and if they can all come up together, that'd be great. And so if he sees that, that'd be great. It'll be a statement signing, and it might be one of our biggest, to be honest.
Declan, sorry, Tobago, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
So your thoughts? Do you think we can sign De Ligt, or do you think it's not going to be possible?
Unless we might get De Ligt, unless we can do a deal, like I mentioned, with Jorginho, and then Juventus are willing to reduce the price tag, then we can do it. But right now, at the moment, I don't think it's possible until they're ready to negotiate the deal to reduce the price tag, because 120 for a defender, it's a lot for our current budget. So I'll take Koulibaly.
And the more you look at it, the more difficult it looks. I'd like to have them both because Declan just explained something now. I think you could argue Juventus are in a building process too. And De Ligt is young. So you could argue naturally he fits the profile of players they want in terms of age, and he's done quite well. Even he did the running for both of the older, defenders he played with. But that's, by the way, I think it's a difficult one. Let me see what the chat has to say about whether Chelsea can sign him, even if we negotiate anything below the release clause, it'll still be something north of 60 or approaching, maybe north of 70. But you never know. It's 65% says yes, Chelsea can sign him, and at this point, 35% says no. So let's just move ahead. I'm going to catch up with the chat, and we'll talk about the next player. But I'll make sure to look at what the chat has to say here. I think we should talk about Sangare when I come back. Here, Stripia says, I'd rather have Jesus, but who wouldn't? I think he's a good player. It's not like he's the best in the world, but he's better than what we have at this point. I think that's just the only argument you can make when talking about that. Again, sorry, my screen is giving me problems, so I can't quickly scroll. I want to find where I stopped. I've read that. And this one here, it's in the name. Yep, I get it. I think Chelsea will sign Koulibaly. We'll talk about the offer the club made to him. Would definitely improve our front line. Jesus that he's talking about. City won't sell to Chelsea as a direct rival. Spurs and a threat to them. I don't think Pep behaves like that, but we'll see what happens. I don't know him to behave like that in terms of not selling players. Maybe when he was still a Barcelona coach, we know the rivalry between Real Madrid and Barcelona, how big that is. Again, it says, says Sterling wants to come to Chelsea. He said he wants to come back to his roots. Where did you hear that? Please do let us know. I guess all things are possible. Nothing is impossible. In most cases, just show the money and the clubs will listen. Show the money to the player too, and they will listen to you. Again, that's just the truth. Let me see. It says, thank God, most of my dreams are monsters. Again, Gabrial and Sterling are coming into Chelsea. Fact. Let me know how you're so certain about that, John. I want to know. No Roman, no Chelsea. Again, you think? Linked FC. Again, I don't want to read the complaints again. I want to skip everything and come back to the panel as soon as possible. Ariola stated just before he died that De Ligt wants a new challenge after 3 years in Italy. I mentioned Jorginho weeks ago. Yep, you did correctly. You're very correct. Why did Arsenal sell the best passer of football to Chelsea? Again, good question. I know who you're talking about, but that's by the way. Now, coming back to the panel, Louisa, I'm going to start with you. How well do you know Sangare?
The Netherlands league, I'm not really that familiar, but I've seen him play, and I saw him play with Ivory Coast also, and it's 6'3", which is, I feel like, something we kind of lack in Chelsea. We lack some physicality in our games. There are some games where you just need to go in and take it by the scruff of its neck. I feel like we do need to get in some physicality in our team. See, we players we have in the midfield, Mount basically kind of plays like a midfielder. Jorginho. We also have Kante. Kante has speed to his game, doesn't have that physicality, and his reduced minutes is also causing an issue. But I feel like if Tuchel, because at the same time, any signing I mention, I'm always mentioning Thomas close to the signing, because it seems like a very peculiar coach who would rather bench a player than figure out how to use that player. So I feel like we should always put that kind of caveat when talking about new players. If Tuchel can actually use him in this squad really well according to his game, then it's an amazing signing. And it's coming from PSV, so I feel like that shouldn't cost us any much financial constraints. But at the same time, Liverpool are going for him, so that can maybe increase his worth, and his price tag can just start getting some obscene amount and some difficult zeros.
Yeah, maybe it's just that maybe we like to spend a lot of money because the fact is he's cheaper. He's really cheaper than Rice. And like Liverpool understands his qualities. I think I've watched him. My argument the last time we talked about him is that he may well, in the future develop into Yaya Toure kind of player. He has that. He has the build, the way he glides with the ball, and his finishes. If you see his finishes, they're all with finesse and placement, not power. So he's an intelligent player overall. So he's a player I'd like us to get instead of spending anything north of 60, 70, anything north of 70 million for Declan Rice. But again, I'm not Thomas Tuchel. He knows what he wants. Coming to you, Declan, your thoughts on the links with Sangare. Do you think we should be looking at him?
No.
Why do you say no? Yeah.
I don't really rate him. I don't know what. I don't know how the name came up too. I think people are that reluctant not to have Rice, and they're going down this list.
So tell me why you don't rate him. You just don't know him, or you haven't watched him enough, or what?
You probably have watched him enough. Even from what I've seen, I don't think he's that great. I think there's a lot better candidates. You'd be going down on a list, and his only name's popped up because Tchouameni's off the list.
No, even when the Tchouameni deal, Madrid hasn't completed the Tchouameni deal, we still talked about him here. People were talking much about him, but the focus then was Tchouameni and Bissouma. And I think I can still recall your thoughts on Bissouma. I know you don't think he's what we need. Again, that's how you see it. But I think Sangare, would do well.
Who's going out, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it depends who left us. If it was Kante or Jorginho or which, it depends on which type of characteristics we're going after.
Yeah, it depends on the character. That is the profile, the attributes of the player in question. But I'd say again, I wouldn't say Sangare is. I think in terms of he will get us more goals than Declan Rice can, given what I've seen. But maybe it's just because it's all highlights. But I've seen him play for Ivory Coast also, although I haven't seen him play much for PSV. But we'll see. But what about the rumors that Tuchel wants him? Or haven't you heard about that?
What I did hear is that Tuchel wants Rice, which is sending headways. I don't know. So Tuchel wants everyone apparently, according to the media. I mean, who doesn't care? I want to hear a news story that Tuchel says, "I don't want this player." That'd be great. Let's hear one of those ones. Just hear one. Just one person. Because I mean, to be honest, Sangare to me almost looks like a Bakayoko.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say. I think he's way better than Bakayoko. Someone else have said that here. I think the Clad is just trying to start a fight. I have to be honest. I think he's 10 times better than Bakayoko. Say what you want to say, Tobago. Go ahead, Tobago. We're waiting. What do you have to say?
Declan, Sangare is way better than. Sangare is way better than Bakayoko. So please don't compare Sangare with Bakayoko. And then
even a bad Bakayoko is still playing in a for AC Milan and like he's still playing on a higher level than Sangare now. Like I don't know how you're going to measure it.
What do you mean higher level? Because Sangare plays for PSV.
How many?
Yes, the Serie A
how many games Bakayoko played?
Than the Dutch league.
How many games he played?
Say that, yeah?
How many games did
how many games did Bakayoko play?
4.
Yes.
For who?
He was not favored.
For AC Milan, how many games has he played?
I don't know. But if you're if you're measuring, right, if you're trying to measure two players, compare them, at his age, Bakayoko looked better than Sangare at his age, and he was more sought after, right?
Are
From
you
Monaco,
serious
when he
right
was younger.
now?
Came to Chelsea, had some not bad games, and then had a really bad spell after that, right? So he played in the EPL, and then has gone back and played in different leagues, and everywhere he's gone, even on loan, has still been a higher level than the Dutch league. So till Sangare steps it up, we won't know. Till he steps it up to a harder league, we don't know if he's going to be better or not. And from PSV to Chelsea is a bigger jump from Monaco, a Monaco team that actually won the league to Chelsea. So it's a bigger jump in level. So I don't know how you can say that he's a better player or he won't be another Bakayoko.
Again, even let me tell you this, Declan. There's no guarantee. Even Declan Rice, even Chomeni, there's no guarantee if they come to Chelsea they'd be a success.
Yeah, there isn't. But
there isn't.
But what you can measure is that someone like Rice, for example, you've seen him. You can compare. You've seen him play against Chelsea. You've seen him play with in the EPL with the same teams that Chelsea has played. You can say, and it's almost evident that someone in the Premier League will adjust better than someone outside the league. That goes for a lot of other playings, right? But there is a risk with every player. It's just that the one that plays in the same league is more ideally and more likely to adjust than other players, right? And but there is that risk with anyone. That's why every player that plays in the EPL has a higher price than someone outside the league because you have that bigger risk, right? But that risk is with every player. So you can as the English Premier League has stepped up in levels and become a more and more tougher league, that risk has become bigger.
Okay, Tobago, anything you want to say?
Declan, do you know Chelsea have done way better when we had an African player as a number 6? Do you know that?
Oh, so it's just African players.
No, it's just Declan. Answer him. If you don't know, let him give you a response. Let's find out.
I think you cherry picked the stat that works out. With I can remember SCN and all that. Yeah.
But
and so that means we have to get an African striker too because of Drogba. Is that what you're saying too?
No. I'm not. No, this is different position. Come on.
So did we make a mistake by getting an African winger by Ziyech? Because African wingers haven't done that well in the past.
No, come on, Declan. You're better than this, man.
Hey, John Terry and Lampard. Does that mean we have to get English defender and midfielder?
Let's forget about this, man.
You start cherry picking some nationality stats.
You're running away from the fight.
Just to make a point.
But wait, Declan, let me just get his thoughts. Declan, Tobago, let me know, what do you think overall? Do you think we should sign Sangare or do you think we should go for someone else?
We should sign Sangare.
Okay, why? Can you explain?
Can you hear me?
Are you still there? Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead. Okay, I'm going to try and catch up with the chat.
He's tall.
Go ahead.
No, I'm having a network issue. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
I'm saying Sangare is tall. He can score goals for us. And another advantage, he will defend more set pieces than having a Kante or Jorginho or Kovacic as a small players with their height. So sometimes we need tall players, and then Tuchel likes tall players. So, but anyway, we'll wait. I don't want Rice with that high salary, high price tag.
Yeah, I
How
think
much
the
is
price
Rice
tag
going
has
for
actually
now?
gone down, but we'll talk about Rice after Sangare. Go ahead, Declan, you wanted to say something.
No, I was just I think I find it very funny that now the reports have swung the other way, where the whole argument about Rice versus Tchouaméni for a long time was that
And
Rice
now
costs
it's
too
Rice.
much,
Rice is
and now the
leading.
irony might be that he ends up cheaper than Tchouaméni, because
Yeah.
I used to go in different streams and ask what if Rice and Tchouaméni was the same price. No one actually wanted to argue, right, about Rice's ability and Tchouaméni's ability, and what they, the pros and cons and their strengths and their weaknesses in their play. No one actually wanted to talk about the two players in their characteristics and how they fit in the team. You can throw Bissouma in there. No one throws that. Everyone's straight away becomes an accountant, right, and argues on price now. And all of a sudden, the whole argument flips on its head when now, if reports are true, that Rice actually becomes cheaper than Tchouaméni, and then what happens then? Does
Mm-hmm.
that mean people are in for Rice now? And Bissouma and different clubs can come in for Bissouma, and all of a sudden Bissouma's price is close to Rice's price, and then people change. People aren't consistent when it comes to value, because they use value to disguise on who they want. So I would love to have a discussion on ability and how they fit and how they roll with it, rather than who's the best, who's the cheaper buy.
I think I'd like us to do that as the show progresses today. Again, that's
Yeah.
one argument I'd like to have with you. But that's by the way. Coming to you, Louisa, you have anything to add before we move on from Sangare?
The issue about Sangare versus Rice as opposed to Chomini versus Rice is that Rice seems like a less Rice is kind of like a more defensive midfielder role, which I feel like that's not where Chelsea's issue has really been at, as opposed to like creating and not defending, because Tuchel has the entire team defending as a unit, which makes it good when you are like trying to stop goals from coming in. But when you are trying to get goals in, where is our creative energy? Where is that force in the lineup where we are like, okay, we're definitely going to get some chances from this person, then, because if you actually look at our chances created, yes, our strikers have not really been very clinical, but at the same time, they are not getting as much chances as the City and Liverpool players. So that's kind of where I'm getting to. Sangare seems like a more creative midfielder than Rice seems like. And
I don't think he'd fit in that role. I don't think he will. He's not in terms of creativity. I don't actually rate him. I rate him in terms of winning ball back, being a defensive. I just have to be honest with you. You get my point now. But
yeah.
you maybe you know him better than I do. But go
But
ahead.
winning balls, when it comes to winning balls back, that's Tuchel's kind of game. Tuchel wants to keep the ball. He wants to get the ball immediately. He loses the ball, which I feel like that's not really Rice's strong suit. But at the same time, Rice is proving in the Premier League, which is always a plus for me whenever we're getting a player, because we've already seen over time how players don't translate from league to league. So Rice's Premier League experience is already like a huge plus for me when it comes to getting him as opposed to getting Sangre. So I don't know which one would fit better, because we've also seen players move from a Premier League club to another Premier League club and not do as well. So we don't know what the future has. We only judge them based on what they've already done, and I feel like we need a player of what Sangre's skill set as opposed to a player of Rice's skill set. Rice is a very skilled player, but I feel like we don't need what he has to offer.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that one, but I want to take that fight to declare. Later in the show, we'll do the comparison entirely. Ty, coming to you just quickly so that we can move on to talking about Rice. Your thoughts on Sangare? I don't know if you heard everything Declan said about him. He practically said his nonsense.
Wow, I'm not surprised, man. Whenever the players,
Declan, I'm surprised you haven't said don't put words in your mouth.
mm, I when declared says it, you have to know that he's the one
Okay.
that's declaring it. So you have to be careful with that one. But
Mm.
I mean, Sangari, I've watched him. He's a quality player for PSV. So I mean, in a sense, I guess some people would, look at it and say, oh, this is the case. He's playing in this league and the demands are different and so on. So, but for me, I think with Sangari, he's a defensive player. He likes to to be that player who can try to sit deep, try to come deep and try to support the defense, and that it for me is important because when you have someone who sits in front of in front of the defense, it means that you have some defensive coverage for the defense. And I keep using this example. When you have a Jorginho who he tries sometimes, but he doesn't really have the pace to
Mm.
really keep up with these players, it becomes so difficult for the defense to not concede because when you don't have a consistent midfielder who is able to close the little spaces that the attackers will have, you're gonna be placing a 1v1 with those players, and most of the time you're gonna concede because all you need to do is to just do a little trick here and just shoot it with power and it goes into the back of the net. So when you have a midfielder who sits in front of the defense, it allows you to be able to have that extra coverage. And I mean, Jorginho used to do it. He did it when Tuchel first came in. He used to cover for the back three, and he used to sit deep for Christensen when Christensen loved to go forward. But I mean, I don't know what happened. The season that just ended because he's gradually gotten worse, and it's unfortunate because he was so key, under Tuchel, and Tuchel really got the best out of him. But I mean, with Sangare is a player who he likes to add that defensive strength that he has in front of the defense, and that is something that is very important. And I mean, if he comes in, and he should be looked at as an option, and he's pretty cheap as well. So if he doesn't work out, there's little regret really, because it won't be like a case where you're spending 90 million, 80 million on midfielder, and he doesn't end up working. But I mean, that's just my opinion, though.
Your thoughts on his creative ability.
I mean, I from what I've seen of him, he can offer some things offensively. I'm not really fully convinced on what he can really do on a consistent basis. Obviously, that would be key if he had that in him as well. But at the same time, I think the more important thing is that we have somebody who's defensively strong, someone that could actually support whoever is playing. Should we continue with a double pivot, of course, because I think as a DM you need to find a solution where you have that player who's able to connect the defense to the midfield. And I
Mm.
mean, it would be a plus if he can, consistently, add to the midfield and, add some creativity from that midfield. But I think the more important thing that we should be expecting from him is that he can defend. Because if you have a Kovacic or you have a Kante, if both of them stay and they're playing in the double pivot, it means that you have Kovacic who loves to dribble, he loves to press high up the pitch and try to create himself as well. That means that he has support. He doesn't have to be coming up and down, because you have that where you can rely on to sit deep and assist you, and then you can switch it where you have Kovacic sitting deeper or Kante sitting deeper, and then you have Sangare going forward. But for me, I know that he can create a bit, but it is a case where I'm not really sure if it would really be as creative as he do it, or for in the Dutch league, and what he does for country. But I think it would be key if he could bring that in, because that means that you have somebody who you can rely on when it comes on to defending, and you also have somebody who can at least add some output from the midfield.
Yeah, yeah. Declan, are you still there, Declan? Okay, looks like it's not close.
Yep.
I'm gonna try. Yeah, yeah. If you're still
Yep.
there, I have a
Sorry.
question for you. Do we really need a DM?
No.
So then it doesn't make sense that we're really looking at Sangare, and it doesn't actually. You could
That's
the
exactly
same
my point.
argument. Yeah, the same argument with Rice. What role will Rice fulfill for us?
I feel like Rice can do more than just the DM, and also can play centre back too. So we are lacking, and when it comes to depth, and I also think there's a chance of evolving the system and something that Tuchel has already done by playing Marquinhos in the midfield. Rice, I'm hoping Rice could remove one of the centre backs in our system, and for him to play that midfield and then drop back in, make back free kind of thing, and bring an extra midfielder in the system. It's one small change. All the fundamentals are the same, the way we're playing. So we could, it would be an easy transition, and then you can have an extra, maybe a Gallagher or Mount in the midfield. So I could, and something that Tuchel done at PSG. So maybe Rice could unlock that, right? But at the end of the day, I think he could do more than just a DM, and we are lacking the centre backs too. So
you're saying what you like the most about him is that his ability to fulfill the centre back role, and also that's one of the 2 sixes.
Well, I left out probably the most important one, where he's comfortable on the ball when he gets pressed. For me, which is the most important, which is the highest priority in that position. So he's good at that. So plus he's young, plus he's a leader as well, which is something we need. With all of them slowly leaving, right? And I think Rice will be the easiest to adjust. And I've seen Rice progress well, like at West Ham when they need to. Him and Souček do similar roles. So I think he's not.
Would you consider him a creator?
Picks?
Would you consider him a creator?
No, but he. This might sound a bit bizarre to some people, but our main creators would mostly come from, right, the free forwards,
the flanks.
Mainly one of them's Mount on comeback, and the wing backs. They're our 5 attackers. They're the people that are going to create. The people that you need from the 2 midfielders is the build-up play, and then they have to link up with the 5 that I mentioned, right? And it's not about getting the ball and doing a nice creative long ball, because we don't play like that. It's all about the shot positive. So these 2 players are always going to get pressed, right? And in the build-up play, if a team heavily press us and we can work out, that gives our attacking players and wingbacks and the free attacks, it opens up a lot of space for them. So if they can just press resistant, that is in a way opening space for easier chances. We don't need that that magical, that great creative pass, long ball. So it's more about the priorities of that position. To hold the ball, to link up play. So where to be creative is a bit lower on that list, right? So as long as you tick off the boxes up there, if they're creative too, that's a great plus. And like I said, a player that ticks off a lot of boxes in that position, so like a jack of all trades, is very ideal. And so Rice isn't the perfect fit. Tchouameni wasn't the perfect fit. If you can find the midfielder that can do a bit of everything, it would be very ideal in those positions. That's why we sacrifice we got 2 of them, and then one can be a bit more defensive, one can be more, can dribble the ball, and that's why Jorginho worked better with Kovacic and Kante. When you put Kova and Kante, it didn't look great. Even though we rated individually, we rated those players better.
Yeah. Again, here's why I asked you that question, because Louisa just explained something very important. Thomas Tuchel, he gets his team to defend as a unit. So the 2 sixes usually, again, it's important that they read the game, break up opposition play, attacks and all that. But I think they should be able to create. And that's something we've lacked from our midfield. Even from under, you could say, is it Mauricio Sarri? Or maybe let me just to be safe, from Frank Lampard to Thomas Tuchel, our midfield hasn't been great in terms of goals contribution. But you've mentioned the way we play. Probably the creativity in terms of chance creation will come from the flanks, the wing backs, and also the 2-8s. Again, I'm not sure.
So it's more about link up. So I don't know if you want to count that as a chance created. Well, because the reason why Mount plays a lot, and I think Gallagher will play this. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. So again, I think the 2-6s. I think we should be looking for 6s that will contribute more to the goals we'll score, and then create more chances. That way, we will not be relying on the wide men to create the chances, because it will be too predictable if you ask me. And that's probably one of the reasons why we suffer against opposition that defend deep.
Coach, can you explain to me how
oppositions
you
that
want
press
those
us
chances to
aggressively,
come from
because
those positions?
even oppositions were able to learn. Okay, Thomas Tuchel likes the carpet crosses for his attacking players, because if you look at his Dortmund team, I'm not sure about PSG. Around 80% plus of the goals his team scored came from carpet crosses from the flanks to the middle section, and somebody taps it in. But that's, by the way, I think let's talk about Rice, since I think the transition will be natural now, since you started talking about him. And if you're in the chat, we have 82 people watching and we have just 66 likes. I know we can do better than that. We've gained around 10 subscribers. So please, if you haven't, just keep liking the video. It doesn't cost anything. It is for free. Let's shoot for at least 150 likes by the end of the show. So keep liking the video. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It looks like we lost Declan for a bit there.
Can you hear me now?
Are you there, Declan? Are you back?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, Declan, are you there? Luisa, let me come to you. And again, anytime if you want to leave, you feel free to leave, because this is a marathon show. The question I want to ask you, because you're the one that actually made me think about it. We don't need a DM, actually. We don't need a DM. We need midfielders who can create more chances and, help us score more goals. So your thoughts on our pursuit of Rice, is Rice worth anything north of 60 million?
My thought on this is I've been going through the comment section and I've been saying that we need a DM. Fine, we do need someone who's going to play that DM role, but at the same time, we could see how just an injury to Chilwell and Reece James means that we couldn't do anything else when it comes to actually winning games. We were still sometimes keeping clean sheets, sometimes we're just playing 0-0, 1-1 goals, games where we had the upper hand, but we're not getting through the opposition's defense because of. We like to play through the flanks. We like to play through from Chilwell, from Reece James. When they went out, it was just like nothing else was happening in the game. We just played the starting 11 that just came to kick the ball around without anything actually affect the result of the game. So my stance on Rice is that we can definitely get Rice. He's a proven Premier League player, but it still doesn't translate into a proven Chelsea player, because we play a different game that West Ham plays. At West Ham, it's like one of the main people who tries to make stuff happen. At Chelsea, it's just going to be part of a unit. Can he work as a unit? Also, Rice is, for me, the English tax and the Premier League tax just makes Rice worth too much. And we've seen youngsters who have crumbled under the pressure of their price tag. And Chelsea doesn't have the luxury of buying a player like the way City got Grealish for 100 million and just let him find his rhythm for over a season. We don't have the luxury of getting a player that is worth over 80 million and letting them find their rhythm for over a season.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to say this again. Is Rice a good player? Yes, he's a good player. I know Declan, you can hear me. Is he what Chelsea wants? I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think he's what we. Rice, I don't think he's what we need. I know you.
So this young lady proved my point about being a tax. She became a counter, started to talk about Premier League tax and that. I mean, everyone talks about the money, and like I said, it's funny that his price has dropped. I want you guys to explain something to me because I was trying to ask it before, Coach, and anyone else. Yeah. Can someone explain to me how our Sixers you want them to create? How would you like to see them create?
Because sometimes in most cases they're close to the final thought. Go ahead, Ty. You were saying something.
How you want to see them create? Like what? How does the play happen for their creation? And put any player that you want in there. Put Fabregas there if you want. A great creator.
Tell me how Fabregas plays in the system. Let's say on occasions you've seen how Kovacic was able to find Lukaku. Even against Norwich City, he found from deep. He found Callum Hudson-Odoi. You get that? Again, it's only him. He's able to do it. Gio does it once in every blue moon, but I've seen Kovacic do it on occasions. It's possible.
Yeah, hold on. So Kovacic did it in what way?
Find them when you make the run. He finds you from deep. Go ahead, Louisa. You were saying something.
I feel like something we're getting wrong here is when we say we need the midfielder to create, is that we think we want a volume of chance. We don't want a volume of chance. We just need it to be part of their repertoire, so that at least we know that we are getting something different from what we already had before. We need something. We can see that Thomas' system is going to get us consistently in the top 4. We don't want to be consistently in the top 4. We want to win the Premier League, which is what the difference.
No. Sorry, you're going off track. All I was asking, the chances that you want, do they come from? Do they come from long balls?
His question.
Do they come from short passes? Do they come from dribbling?
It depends on where they are. It could also come from. You sometimes need to beat the opposition who are pressing you to get the chance to create the chance for the man who's making the run.
So after they beat the press, what would you like to see?
Sometimes all you need is a short ball. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you got to understand that from where those Sixers are, right, to everyone else, is one of them drops back, and that's how you link up. So when you want chance created from that position, what would you like to see these midfielders do to become chance created? What I'm asking, is it? Do you want to see long ball creation for? You brought up Lukaku from the Sixers straight to Lukaku, or do you want to see? You want to see, like Kovacic you mentioned, being able to dribble and join the attack and pass it? Or do you want to be able to see a DM to be able to dribble his whole way out there into the attack? What kind of chance do you want to see created?
We need a DM.
That's what I said. We don't need a DM.
We don't need a DM.
You guys, I've been hearing this theme of we need a person that can create. We need our midfielders that create. But I explained to you how the creation comes from different areas because they're more advanced than those DMs they sit back deep. So the only way I could think of is you want a direct ball from DM to striking position.
I don't think that's what he's asking.
No. It is
so if you don't want that,
from deep,
then what kind of creative player do you want? What kind of characteristics?
In most cases, we see them in the final third, but they're not able to do anything that's possible sideways or backwards.
But Coach, our wing backs and free forwards, it's 5. That's how we attack. Unless we need one more,
how many players 6. Have that they should be able to create chances. Sometimes it will be the wing backs that will make the runs. It's inside the box, so the 2-6-6, if they're close to the final third, should be able to find them with the ball. It must not be the 2-8s.
But that's as a last resort, depending on the team. So their job role. Right, because count the players now. Right, we have 2 wing backs up, 3 forwards, 5 players. Right, and five behind. Right, that's how we've positioned. Right, when you see in our attacking phase. Right, that's how we've transitioned. Now, when teams sit back a little bit, that's when we commit one more. Maybe cover goes up more deeper. That's when it allows you. But depending on the team you verse. Right, the wing backs and the free forwards, right? They all go up, right? Maybe, and then if it's a better team, that 2 DMs sit back deeper. So if you get a player there that is very good at creating chances in a better game, he might be very isolated, right? That's why when I said chances, a creator, right, in that position, might be very low as a characteristic on that list, on his list, right? Because there's more priorities that we want. So if you're saying we need a DM that can create chances, priority over press resistant, over passing, and all the other ones, right? Well, you're getting him for the wrong things. He's only going to use that half the time.
Well, I don't think a D mid's job description is to create chances in the final third. That's not his job.
But
never said that's the case. Before I talked about chance creation from the 2 6s, I asked the question. We don't necessarily need a number 6 the way that's a traditional DM, given the way we play.
Right. No. You need another midfielder. I mean, if you're going to play a 3-5-2, you just need 2 guys in there that aren't going to be over-exerting themselves going forward and aren't going to be too defensive. You just need guys that can keep their position. If one goes up, the other stays. It's very simple.
Yep.
It's a role that it's a unique because of the system change, right?
Right.
Because we don't need a traditional. We don't have traditional 6. We don't have traditional 8. They got a role.
Well, now hold on. If we play a 4-3-3, then you're gonna have to be a little more traditional. Yeah. But here's the thing. And I'm sorry for being late, guys. By the way, it is 5 a.m. where I am, but I still definitely wanted to be on this program. So, Mr. Perspective, thank you so much for having me.
No, more thanks to you for finding time to join us. I appreciate it.
No, man. No, look. I keep my promises. I was snoozing, brother. That's all I gotta say. But no. Look, and I've been speaking with this on my other channels as well. I want to be able to play a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2 as well as a 4-3-3. I want us to be able to do both. Instead of just being married to one thing, I want us to be dynamic enough to where we can play both. And it'll keep the other opposition guessing. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think Thomas Tuchel will be willing to do that?
I think that we're going to buy players that can do that.
I think we're going to
because he said openly it's not going to change it.
Well, he has to say that.
Okay.
No, but why would you want to keep changing a system rather than perfecting
one?
No.
You're missing my point. What I'm saying is I think that we're good enough to be able to play both a 3-5-2 and a 4-3-3. And the reason being is because I don't want us to be predictable. And, we have fluid players. Guys like Reece James can play outside right back, can play outside wing back, can play defensive midfielder. So, in and of itself, we can be a dynamic team.
We can, but would you say Man City is predictable?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Not predictable.
Here's the thing.
No. Hold on. They can play 3-4-3 and a 4-3-3.
When have you seen Liverpool play?
I don't care about Liverpool. By the way, Liverpool gets to play that way because their injuries are not significant. And if they were, they wouldn't be as consistent as you're saying.
And Man City have very rarely played 3-4-3, and that was to adjust when.
Right, but they can though. But they can.
Carlito, here's the thing about Man City. Are they predictable? I'd argue yes. Well, do you know the difference? They're well drilled at what they do. You know what they're going to do, but you're not going to stop them.
But what I'm saying is that they can definitely play 3 in the back. Because
they do switch it up. They do switch it up sometimes.
No, but in terms of what Man City does, yeah, of course they can do that, but that's all pattern play, and they do all that in practice.
All right,
I know that because I used to do that.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I totally understand. Let me quickly catch up with the chat, and I'll come back to the panel. Luisa, I hope you're still with us. Okay, like I said, if at any time you want to leave, feel free to leave. Here it says, again, I'm not sure what the Queen is talking about. Yes, people, please keep liking the video. We have 73 likes while we have 86 people watching. I know we can do better than that. Please, if you haven't, take a second to like the video. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. Says, yeah, the other time podcast agree. Again, is it official Chelsea have confirmed the departure? Yep, I think we've heard that before. Talking of player values going up after more teams coming for them is the reason why we should do our business fast. Again, it's not like the board or Todd Boehly and or whoever intentionally left it for late. We were under some restrictions that deterred us from putting pen to paper with any player we're talking with. So again, so I wouldn't blame them, and I'm still confident. I think a lot is going on behind the scenes that we do not know about, and I still think
there's a lot.
Yeah, there are some players that will come in that we do not even know that the club, they were looking at. But that's, by the way, saying French players don't do well in Premier League.
That's
absolute
nonsense. That's
That is
nonsense.
false.
Yeah, that's not true. Yeah,
The comment should say that not all French players do well because you have a lot of them. Look at Kante.
Yeah,
I mean,
amazing, right? Hey, Mr.
Yeah.
Perspective, I actually
Yes.
wanted to say this one thing because I hadn't gotten to talk to Sadiq about this yet, but I want to make this a fresh take. So the Sevilla president, right? He came out yesterday and he said, we wanted to backtrack on the Chelsea deal that we had agreed upon last summer because we wanted to increase the value of Jules Kounde. And the ironic part about it is that because he went back on his deal with Chelsea about Jules Kounde, this summer he's going to be selling Jules Kounde to Chelsea for less money instead of more money. And I think that the moral of the story is this: if you have a deal with someone, you make it and you don't backtrack, because that's not proper business, because eventually it'll bite you in the butt. And guess what? It's doing that right now to the Sevilla president, because we're about to fleece him for a great player and we're going to pay less than we were going to last summer.
Yep. I think it suits them well. What they did wasn't good at all. They knew that we had already sold Kodzuma to West Ham United, and they moved the goalpost. They wanted to take us for a ride, and we said no. I think it wasn't nice at all. Again, let me try.
We offered them.
Yeah, go ahead, Ty. You were saying something.
Too.
Yeah, we did.
We offered Zuma too.
Yeah, and they refused. I think Zuma didn't want to go.
Yeah,
right.
Why the same?
Right, I think that was part of the issue. Yeah. Again, let me try and catch up with the chat. I'll come back to the panel in a bit. It's never a guarantee. Drinkwater, yep, never a guarantee that a player, the term, we hear every time, Premier League proven. Again, it remains to be seen. Like I've argued before, every manager approached the game differently. There's a chance a player who's brilliant on the club comes to Thomas Tuchel and find it difficult to perform. That happens all the time. So we don't need a proper defensive DM. If we're gonna keep playing 2-6s, why do we need two traditional DMs? It just doesn't make sense again. Sorry,
but you need one.
You need at least one of the 2-6s to be disciplined. That's what. But you could say that doesn't mean that we need a traditional DM. I don't know how else to argue this. Again, it's an argument.
Basically, you just need somebody who can at least replicate at least 50% of what Matthijs did when we had Fabregas. So Fabregas wasn't the greatest defensively, but you could rely on him making those defense breaking passes. And the reason why he had that freedom was because he had a reliable DM beside him. And people are saying Kovacic needs to do.
Hey, can you say that one more time? Can you say that one more time? Because I think that was a really important point. Please say that one more time.
Without a proper DM beside you, you can't be the greatest. And especially that's why Fabregas was so good. Yes. Because Matthijs was reliable. And the funny thing is, as soon as we sold him, we started to see that there was a drop in the team, and then we signed back Kyokos to be his replacement, and obviously it didn't work out. And
Great
then
point.
And obviously, look at it. Look at Fred. Fred at Man United. When they play Matthijs, you realize that Fred becomes a total different beast, and that's because you have a reliable DM, and that's what you need. So you don't need to be having two traditional or two disciplined DM, but you need at least one, because that would allow the the other midfielder the opportunity to attack. And in this case, you have a Kovacic who likes to dribble forward. You have that trust. But
we're playing a different system, though.
Yeah, but
at the same time, you need one.
But I do have to say, what's your name, by the way? What's your name, by the way? The person that just
Ty.
You made such a good point. You made such a good point, and I think it's very important because you do need someone that sits and then someone that can go. Now, Mateo Kovacic, full disclosure, is my favorite player in football. I love the way he plays, but you do need someone that can sit in order for him to operate. Because it's kind of like
you guys are comparing the wrong systems here. I think that the misunderstanding is you got to understand the way we've been playing and the way Tuchel has wanted to play this new version of 3-4-3. When you have three centre backs, you don't need it. You don't need a defensive midfielder.
What?
Now hold on. Hear him out. Because he's on to a good point.
Like I said, and this goes back to your point almost when you want to create a midfielder. The way we are playing is and the way it was started off is when Tuchel came in, it was very good for teams that like to counter-attack, right? So our wing-backs are part of our attacks. That's two. You have the three forwards, right? The role that Mount played and why he plays all the time is because on the defensive phase, so we don't get outnumbered in the midfield, right? He would drop in and make a midfield free. But when we get caught on the counter, you have three centre-backs plus two midfielders. Those midfielders don't have to be very defensive when you have three centre-backs behind them, right? So a midfielder with his main attributes as being the defensive ones, right, is not necessarily needed to meet with that first person when you have three centre-backs behind you. It's very different when you have two centre-backs, right, and two full-backs, and especially if you want those two full-backs to bomb up forward a lot more, right, then you're talking about something very different. And because of that is why teams adopted a more sitting DM to help with the two centre-backs when the full-backs went up. But this is a totally different system when you have three centre-backs. If you start to put a defensive midfielder there, well, you're taking away a lot from what the capability can do. And then to contradict yourself, you want a creative midfielder too. So what do we essentially want here? I mean, that's why I said those two midfielders, sixers or whatever you want to call them, if they're a jack of all trades, right? We need those players to do a lot, not just be defensive. We need them to be able to counter press, pass, not necessarily long pass, right? And because they are the link to a lot of the players. They're linked to the wing backs. They're linked to the forwards, right? So that's why you don't need a DM.
Yeah,
that's
so
why Jorginho can play that
role. This is what he's talking about is cover, right? And if you are playing in a back four, you're more exposed centrally. If you are playing with three center backs, you actually don't need another basically center back in front of the center backs. This is what he's talking about. All right,
can I just say this though?
But you need to talk about the anatomical structure of the formation itself. If you are playing three center backs, you do have enough cover because your wing backs are also supposed to be defenders as well as guys to go forward. If you are playing a 4-3-3, you are more spread out. You are more susceptible midfield-wise to a counter.
Okay, let me just quickly say this. What the clear just said, I understood what he meant. Now, if I got an opportunity to finish the sentence I was trying to say, it's that I was gonna also add that Tuchel likes to be versatile with this system.
Yeah.
The reason why he's going with the targets that we're hearing, if it's true, and for some of them it's true, obviously like Kounde, he's versatile. He can play as a centre back and as a wing back. So they are as a right back, whatever one you want to call it. When you have those type of players, it means that let's say you want to switch to a 4, you have a player who can at least shift in, move wide, and then you can switch from a 3-4-3 to a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3. The thing is, when you do that, if you have a certain player who doesn't have that defensive strength, because what he's saying about the when you have a back three, you have more defensive coverage. That only matters when those defenders are good. But when we have bad defenders, it doesn't work out, and we've seen that. So I'm going to assume that you mean when you have good defenders, because we've seen that if Jorginho is caught out, the defense is left in a 1v1. We concede. We saw it against Wolves, and is what caused us, to draw the game. So that is why, for me, I'm saying that you need a DM in a case where you don't have strength quality or strength given centre backs, because you're not going to always have that, and we don't always have that.
But that doesn't make sense, because what is Jorginho's best attribute?
But he's not been doing that. That's the thing. If he's not doing it recently,
no. Hold on. What was Jorginho known for? You can say he's a bit
out of form. He's a deep line.
What is his best attribute as a player?
It's tempo passing out of the back.
Jorginho is just
but he's very press resistant. He gets the ball and he knows where to go.
So you
said when Jorginho lost the ball. So Jorginho has been one of the, for the last couple of seasons, has been one of the best at distributing that ball, right?
In the world. By the way, say it again, because it's true. He literally is one of the best in the world at this. When he's got the ball coming out of the back and people are all over his ass, he's good at still manipulating around the pressure. He's very good at this.
And getting a DM, right? A lot of the DMs aren't good on the ball, right?
But
the way
someone like Rodri is, and if we're gonna really want someone like this, he's got to be good at passing out of the back. He has to be.
So that's So Rodri and Jorginho. That's why they were sought after by Pep, right? Because that is the most important quality, right? That is the priority to have, and that's what we need. So when Tobago just said, it was Tobago, yeah, they just said, we need someone that doesn't lose the ball, because then when the ball is lost, right, then we're exposed, and that is right. When the ball is lost in that position, right, we are more exposed. And that goes for almost any team when you lose the ball in such a position. That's why the priority isn't a defender that can defend. You need the person that's really good on the ball, not someone, because you're more worried about someone that's going to lose the ball, not someone that can defend it. I mean, if you put a DM there that is good defensively but not that great on the ball, he's going to lose the ball, and there's nothing he can do about it once he's lost the ball.
He's so right. And you know what the funny part about it is? Manchester United's about to add this player that can do this. His name is Frankie de Jong. And we need to be pretty smart about who we're going to be adding if we really want to drop Jorginho, which I don't think we will for another year. So Declan Rice's price has gone down to £75 million. I do think Declan Rice is good on the ball. I don't think he's Jorginho good, but rarely anyone in the world is. But I do think we need to consider it, fellas.
Yeah, and with that, I'm going to tell the people in the chat, I will skip quite a lot because there's quite a lot of messages to read. And if I try to read them all, I don't have a studio engineer. I will not get done by the end of the day. And with that, I want to ask you, please, if you haven't, take a second to like the video and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We are at 79 likes right now, so which means we need just how many more? 21 more to get to 100. So keep liking the video and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. So I skipped quite a lot, so that I will catch up because that's quite a lot here. And another hobby again, I say it's a problem. Again, I'm not sure what's now. Okay, the problem with our fan base. If Declan Rice had a foreign name from a foreign league, would be waxing lyrical about him. But because it's English, all of a sudden he gets a hate. This is not about hate.
If he wasn't English, he wouldn't play the way he plays. Because if you notice, each player that comes from different leagues, they play differently. English players, they play with press resistance. They play with trying to press and try to win the ball back. If he was French, he would not be like that. He would be a player who likes to dribble out of things. He would try to be a player who tries to come back, try to win the ball. If he was Spanish, he'd be a bit more slow with the ball. So it's not about him being English. It's about the way he plays and what he would do. And especially people want to say Declan Rice is a DM. He's a good DM, but he also needs coverage as well. And And
Yeah.
if he doesn't have that coverage, he won't be great. And we've seen that when he plays for England, he has to run back and do it himself because he doesn't have that coverage. And when Souček wasn't doing great, you saw that he was exposed, and that's how West Ham got eliminated from the Europa League. So I don't know where that gets turned around too easily. Where because he's from England, he's not rated enough. That's not the case. It's just that the way he plays, it's going to cause more issues than a solution.
No, it won't cause issues.
And there is an English thing there is there. Just remember, I'll give you a quick reminder. Remember how Chilwell was received?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Well, no, but I actually was one of the only people that actually wanted him.
If a player is good enough, he's good enough. I mean, I see Rice. Yeah, I can see Rice's quality. I think even from different leagues, I think
Declan, can you tell me
players
how
have
he
different
fits
characteristics.
Declan, just tell me how he fits into the current team.
I think that quality is quality, and you kind of adapt around it. It's not really about fit immediately; it's about adaptability. I think the Tuchel. Hold on. Well, let me finish.
Go ahead,
I think Tuchel is smart enough to know that if he wants this player in the team, he's already planning for this player. So he's already thinking about patterns of play that he wants the team to adopt. And this is before we even signed
talking
these
about
guys.
Tuchel, can you tell me how he fits? How he, Declan Rice, fits into the current team? Explain to me.
I think that he's a very good player, and if he's a very good player that has discipline,
no, that doesn't do it. That doesn't do it.
Hold on. You're asking me to give you a scenario where we actually have this player in, and he is part of the team. I can't do that because he isn't here yet.
No, let's assume we're looking to get him. And you're saying...
No, but the person that says I can, I'm very curious as to what your answer is.
Yeah, so Rice, the way I see Rice, right, without my hope for evolving the squad, but Rice would be doing what Jorginho does, to be honest. He won't be good at distributing, but the thing that he brings, and he's still comfortable at a certain level to do that role, right, to press resilience. But because Jorginho, and this is what everyone's biggest criticisms was, off the ball, Jorginho isn't that good defensively, right? But he's the person that sits back the most, besides who he plays to, which is Kova or Kante. That person drives the ball, so that person is always the more advanced one. Jorginho sits back to help, right? He's got 3 centre-backs. That's how we do defensively. That's why we did all right. And that could be also the reason why we play 3 centre-backs. Now, if Jorginho was more defensively sound, we could probably take one of the centre-backs out. Maybe that could be a reason why we're stuck to the system, right? So maybe Rice or another person with similar attributes can change all that, right? What Rice would bring is what Jorginho does with the being in the link-up play, and then when on the defensive phase, Rice would be almost another very good defender. So.
Hold on. So what you're saying is that now I agree with you, but you're also wrong on the statistics about ball interceptions with Jorginho. I know that he looks slow and unathletic, but he's actually very good in his timing. So you're wrong about that particular thing. But what you're talking about is you're talking about a more fast, athletic, stronger person to be in the defensive midfield spot when we lose the ball. Which yes, Declan Rice is. Jorginho lacks athleticism, size, strength, and I guess you could say joie de vivre. He's a slow guy. I know he's slow, but he's still very good at ball interceptions. Declan Rice will be there, and he will get there quicker.
I wasn't saying Jorginho is useless or something like that.
I know he's slow.
He's not a DM, yeah.
So everybody knows he's slow.
I don't expect that from Jorginho, if that's what makes sense. He's got a little bit in his game. If someone flies past him, I don't expect that. I never saw Jorginho as a defensive. Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting, by the way. I apologize.
No worries. That's part of the show.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so what Rice does for me is that if he becomes, say, quote unquote, like we're saying, a more defensive Jorginho in the way he's been playing, right? Then the person aside him can be a more attacking midfielder. you can almost probably put Mount, Conor Gallagher, that can play way more advanced, right? Because if you think about it, right, if you're playing the same system, you would have essentially 4 centre backs. If that makes sense.
Yes, no, it does, and if it doesn't, it should.
Should we even be playing 260s in the first place? Well, go ahead with what you're
Maybe not. That's why I would like to see, Coach. I would like to see 1 centre back out and one midfielder in.
You said Conor Gallagher though. Are you sure he's good enough for this team, man? Because I know he scores, but that's if that's all you look at, you're a Bucks fan.
Nah, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying Conor Gallagher is very similar to what Mount does.
Oh, but he's not Mason Mount.
He can give Mason Mount a break and do the same role.
We must take that down right now. Gallagher is not a number 6. Well, go ahead, Declan.
No. Conor Gallagher is absolutely not a number 6. Conor Gallagher is an attacker. He's an attacker. Come on.
Yeah. What I was saying, Kelly, before was that, like I said, the reason could be playing 3 centre backs could be because of Jorginho's lack of defensive ability. If not, Rice could always, or any other player that is comfortable on the ball with defensive attributes, can switch up the system, can change the profile of the player next to him, can also maybe take out a centre back to add in an extra midfielder in the midfield. We can keep very much the fundamentals all very similar, but what happens, we still play very much the same. It's just the characteristics of the players change. I think Rice could do what Jorginho does, not as good in the ball wise, but I think he could do it to a degree good enough, so then we can benefit off his defensive attributes. And so when it's off the ball, Rice will be very good defensive-wise when it wouldn't matter with the midfielder next to him. So it could be Loftus-Cheek, it could be even Mal Gallagher. I think that it wouldn't matter because if we lost the ball, for example, then you would have Rice and Silva, say Kounde, whatever. You have 4 centre backs essentially to deal with a counter attack. And maybe even if the wing backs are caught real far up, if this is a proper counter, you have 4 centre backs. I'm very comfortable with that. That's how I look at it. I'm very comfortable with 4 centre backs to deal with a counter, which is most of the time free. If it's 4-person counter attack, then that's not a situation you want to be in. That's a real bad one. But even then, 4 centre back type players versus on a counter, I'm comfortable when we're committing so many other attacking players. It just allows you to have so many more attacking players. I think that's why I like to see Rice or anyone with the same attributes as that, even better than Rice. If you find the player that can comfortable in the ball, strong, and be almost like a really good defensive midfielder, almost like a centre back, yeah. And I think that he also can, if maybe remove a centre back out, maybe we only have 2 centre backs, and Rice drops in doing what Marquinhos used to do, right, and have the extra midfielder. I think that he could unlock this system for Tuchel on what he's maybe trying to do, because we're not even sure exactly even if he wants to still play the system or maybe just evolve it and get the best out of it.
I think somebody else has explained why, because he's able to play in the center back role, so it would be easier for him to slot in there and also help for defending. Again, that the argument makes sense, and I would just want to quickly try the best I can to catch up with the chat and come back to the panel. Here in Life No Limit says, I get that it's crazy to me as well, but people shouldn't go on like it's not. No, nobody's arguing that it's not a quality player. Whenever you have options, you prefer one over the other. And when Tchouameni was still available, majority of the Chelsea fans prefer Tchouameni. Some prefer Rice. And to me, if you ask me, I'd say the Rice isn't what we need, so to speak. But I'm not Thomas Tuchel. If he wants him, he's looked at him, he's seen how he's going to fit into his style of play or into the team, and that's why he's asked the club to get it for him if we eventually get him. But that's, by the way, again, nobody's saying he's a bad player. We're just arguing here. The Shams and Makalele will pass as soon as possible. Yep, I get that. Remember, Chile was hated at first. Preferred options were, what's his name, that went to Man City. Telles to Man United, right? There's one again. I don't remember the other ones that people preferred. And Chile, he's done quite well. Again, that's the truth. But you never know until that player comes to the club, and we'll see what they're able to do. K. Kisa says Rice can also he can also slot in it perfectly. He can play as a centre back. Again, that's not what we're arguing here. My argument is different. I've always, had issues with the price tag. Now the price tag has come down. My concern is how is he going to fit into the team? And I think Declan answered that very well. We played Loftus-Cheek in the back. Yeah, and that's Thomas Tuchel for you. Rice defensively is brilliant. Against crosses, yep. How tall is he again? In life, no limit is quality. Again, I don't want to read that. A Blue Morning panelist has quality takes. Again, Ray Allen said Declan Rice defensive is good. Yes, we all know that. But for me, on the ball, when we have to break our teams down, what is he going to do? Again, that's something I've argued against the club, but the club argued otherwise, saying he's good on the ball and he can beat the press, he can dribble. Declan, did you say he can also dribble his way out of tight spaces?
He can.
Did you say that too?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't seen him do that. Maybe not more often. Declan Rice still is in progress, along with Bissouma. Bissouma is the one I want us to get that one. I really want to see Bissouma at Chelsea.
Hey, Mr. Perspective, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, if you guys are expecting Declan Rice to be Jorginho out of the back, he's not that.
No, I already know that.
But I mean, like, by the way,
actually.
no one can do that. I mean, let's be very clear, fellas. He was voted European Player of the Year. So let's put a little respect on Jorginho's name for what he does, because what he does is very hard and very unique. So let's not overlook him just because he's skinny and slow. The second thing, and I got to be honest with you guys, Tuchel is going to cost Real Madrid 115 million euros. And I have to say, he is not worth that because he hasn't shown it. He's a good player. I'm not shitting on him. I think he's a good player, but this is an unproven player. And Real Madrid, I'm not saying they're taking a gamble, but what I'm saying is that they are taking an expensive chance on a player that I don't believe deserves that type of valuation. But Monaco knew that Real Madrid would do it, so they did it. And with Tuchel and with Chelsea, I'm glad that they held firm, because I think that they're looking for someone else. Whether it's Declan Rice, whether it's Bissouma, whether it's someone else, I'm not sure. But Tuchel for that price, Chelsea was like, I'm a little apprehensive. And I think there's a reason why, and that's because he hasn't proven himself. With Declan Rice, at least we know the proof is in the pudding. We've already tasted that pudding. We know what he is. And what he is a good player that's going to become eventually a great player. Now, is he worth 115 million? No. Is he worth 75? Maybe. Can we bring that valuation down even more? Perhaps. And that is where I think we should throw a player
excuse me. Sorry, I have to jump in again unless you have some new information. Okay, West Ham says we really do not want to sell him this year, but if you do, it's 100 million. Not
no,
euros,
it's now 75.
Pounds.
It's now 75.
It's now 75.
They made a change in the price.
So yes, we actually now do have new information.
West Ham said it's only 75 million.
Yeah, they want 75.
Yeah, congratulations to the new information.
There's a risk of them losing him on the free.
Oh, okay. So if it's 75, let's go sign him then.
I think we can get him for even less.
All right.
Okay.
Let me just say.
How much
Fanta did a rant. He said it was 100. Remember, he screamed at us.
Right, I did. So if West Ham is dropping their price, then amazing. Then let's go get him at 75.
No. West Ham is dropping their price because he has told them he's not re-signing. This is the beauty of negotiation, baby.
So there's a risk
Welcome
now.
to it.
There's a risk of West Ham now. So if you guys don't mind, let me quickly catch up with the chat. I skipped quite a lot. And please, if you're watching, if you haven't, do like the video to help us reach more people. Let me see how quickly I can go. Rice is not the right player for us. That is my argument. I have never argued that he's not a good player. I just feel like he's not the right fit for us. But I'm not Thomas Tuchel. Maybe he sees otherwise. But we'll see what happens. Says Chelsea time to buy old players, buy young ones for the long term. Balance is key. We need to balance as we rebuild. We need to, seek balance. And life, though, let me say again, this is a conversation they're having. As I said, just TT what he wants. Give him what he wants. If he wants rice, give him. If he wants beans, get him for him. Richarlison is great, good for Chelsea next season. I don't really rate him that highly. Again, that's me. Says it's rare
wings, so
a manager gets what he wants. We'll see. What do you say, Ty?
Should he get wings if he wants it too?
Yeah, if he wants wings, then let him get wings. Yeah, Koulibaly. No, hopefully Chelsea will overhaul the current squad so they can sweep all the titles. Yeah, it's an overhaul already, but it remains to be seen whether they'd be drastic about it. How many players they'd be willing to sign this same window? Again, for obvious reason, the priority will be to fix the defensive department. Then if there's enough time left, maybe they'll be doing it simultaneously. You never know. But we'll see what they're able to do. Kounde, for sure, is coming. That's from what we've seen. Yeah. There are factors that has defined his arrival for us, so we can say that he's coming. Frankie de Jong, I think Manchester United have put in a bid. I don't think it's coming to us, but we'll see what happens. Other teams have been in dire. I don't know if you wrote down this comment somewhere. Every time you come, the same exact words and length of the sentence and everything. But that's fine. I get your frustration, but I think we'll be all right. Believe me. Chelsea time to buy. Again, you've said that before also. The new owners have got to put their money where their mouth is. I don't trust these owners. I wouldn't blame them for anything right now. There's still time. Again, I'm sounding like a broken record right now.
Hey, Mr. Perspective, can I say one thing? Because,
go ahead.
Again, I'm new to the show and I'm also late. Again, I am very apologetic about being late.
No problem.
I have to say this one thing, and I say this on Worldwide Chelsea. I say this often. I am a enormous fan of Ousmane Dembele. I love this strong, proud black man. Mm-hmm. I think that he's got a wonderful agent that has his best interests at heart. And I love the statements that he's made about Barcelona when he has felt disrespected and mistreated, because I do believe he has. When he is on and when he is clicking, I believe this to be the best at his position in the entire continent. I believe him to be the best at his position in Europe. I love this player. And if he is healthy, he is going to be an enormous signing, probably the signing of the season, over Haaland, over Darwin Nunez, over anybody. If we get this player, he will change this club.
He's that good? But the truth is,
he is that good. He is that good. He's that good.
The deal isn't as simple as it sounds. He's coming on a free. Again, plus that, there's going to be a sign-on fee involved. He's coming on a high wage. The club may be looking.
But he's worth it. It's worth it.
And the club may be looking to get him to take a wage cut. He's also had his past is something the club is. I'm sure they're very much aware of it. So they'd be looking maybe to get him to sign something. You'd put out a statement. You'd show that you're remorseful about what you did in the past, because it's not something you can easily something that can easily be swept under the rug. The club has lots of sponsors from that part of the world. And coming to Chelsea, everything that Chelsea stands for, against discrimination of all sorts, against anti-Semitism and all that. So if he comes in, I think there's a chance the club would say, okay, this has to be part of it. And again, I believe in salvation, and I do believe he's a better man now. He's married, and we haven't had any nonsense in terms of his behavior for quite some time.
We can't. I look. I'm with you on that. I really am. I think any form of discrimination is just gross. It's disgusting. But I also believe that you can't judge a person by his one worst moment. And if he shows that he truly says, "Hey man, I screwed up," and I don't actually believe this because I don't think he does. If he shows that, then I think he deserves a second chance, just as anyone that shows true remorse.
Will
and if he does, then we need to accept
no.
that.
If you ask me, will it end? I'll say no. The club will take a hit somehow from the media.
Yeah. Well, no, but
British
Chelsea
media.
is very unique in the way that they handle anti-discrimination. Like Roman was really, really thoughtful when it came to like
That's
anti-Semitism.
why even signing Dembele creates more. From that perspective, it's a PR issue.
Okay.
I understand.
But besides the PRO nightmare, let's talk about besides the PRO nightmare that Dembele could potentially be, because we know we are Chelsea. Automatically, everyone hates us first of all. Then when we go and take a decision where it's going to be it's possible for everybody to hate us, they just jump on the bandwagon that, oh yeah, Chelsea is worst. We started the war in Ukraine and all. But when it comes to Dembele, we need to also know that he's had his history playing wise, injury wise. If we're getting a Dembele that is going to be healthy for the next 3 years, fine and good, any amount he asks for, we drop it on the table because he's a very good player. He could potentially make the difference between Chelsea winning a Premier League or a Champions League if he's running at his pace. But we also need to still take into consideration that we could get a Dembele where it's now like a Kante situation where, okay, he plays one, he gets fatigued, we need to start managing his minutes, which is such a big swing to make for a player like that. So potentially, if we're looking at getting Dembele, we should also get someone that is going to act like an understudy and a extension of Dembele, because he's a good player, and I feel like Chelsea needs someone of his position, someone that can at least learn from him, do what he does. That is going to be a fantastic deal if we can get a Dembele and a Dembele Junior.
I think Dembele, he's a brilliant player.
Yes.
And he's so. Go ahead.
I want to say that if we're gonna get Dembele, then we might as well just go get Hazard, because Dembele's gonna be.
Oh, come on.
Yes. Dembele is an injury-prone guy, and he's gonna be injured. And plus, we're gonna lose Yokohama Tires as a sponsor, and so it's just really bad. It's really bad. There's so much downside.
That's a false equivalency.
There's so much downside to this guy.
You know what? That is a false equivalency, man. I'm sorry. I can't accept that. That's a false equivalency.
You can't accept
Let me ask you this.
A career injury record of horrible.
No, what you're trying to do is create a false equivalency between a 31-year-old that doesn't take care of his body and a 25-year-old that has made mistakes but is now trying to resurrect his career, and he still has one for the next 6 years. I'm sorry, that's a false equivalency. I don't accept that.
In fact, here we go. Okay, breaking news. I'm leaving Chelsea if they send Dembele. I'm leaving Chelsea.
Yeah, that's
I'm coming in.
You're not going to pull me with you.
That's
you, bro.
Gosh.
You have every reason to do whatever you want. It's a free world. But that's, by the way, Matt, coming to you. I think I'm not going to be able to catch up with the chat today, but I'll try my best. Matt, your thoughts, where does Rice fit in our team so that we can talk about Koulibaly next?
I don't think he fits in our team. He's a player who needs someone to come and hold his hand.
Finally, somebody on my side.
CDMs.
Go ahead.
He plays with two CDMs.
Is he talking about Koulibaly?
No. We're still talking about Rice. I want to get Matt's thoughts.
Sorry. My bad.
I see him in West Ham. He needs, a Souček or a Noble there. Our same fans want our only sitter, Jorginho, out, but they want to keep Rice, who needs a sitter to hold his hand. He only plays well in a two system with two DMs. We don't play that. Right now, we're playing with one sitter, one attacker. We can't do that next season. Obviously, maybe he can change his ways, but he does change his ways at England, and look how he plays there. He doesn't play as good as he does for West Ham. So I don't think he comes and fits in his team. Can we change it around him? Possibly, but I'm not willing to change one player and play around his style, especially with Declan Rice, because I don't think he's a good player. I think he's pretty sloppy on the ball. The only positive I take from Declan Rice is his leadership. I think he's got great leadership in him. I think he's got great urgency. That's something we need, but it's not something I'm willing to pay 150 million for just for one aspect of it. If he had better qualities for him, then we can go for it. But I don't know. I think it's just a bit too sloppy, and not for me. I would have given him a bit more time to see how he does it, maybe a bit more future. But I don't see, man. I don't want him. I think Tuchel was the best option. We missed out. It's unfortunate, and I do think if we get Declan Rice, it'll just be another signing rushed. Tuchel was the main option. We missed out. Unfortunate. The only player who can come in now is no one to fix our team. Now we're gonna force a man like that.
Yeah, I've got some questions for Matt. Is that all right, Matt?
Yeah, go ahead. Why not?
What is
you
it?
should ask him if he has minerals.
What? So
Minerals.
first of all,
No, he doesn't have minerals. He has the vitamins or vitamins.
No. By the way, this
I
person
got
that
the
just came on,
minerals.
Matt is the best. You guys show him some respect. This guy's awesome.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Declan. Ask him the question.
yeah. So I'm gonna ask you a few. You said he's 150.
It's
his price
75.
has dropped. So don't worry about that, Matt, anymore. The price.
Actually declared it's like probably 75 in our currency. I was just 150 in our currency. I was just going off that.
But
yeah.
guess what?
Guess
you came in with wrong information, Matthew. You
Yeah,
came
wrong.
in with bad
You should've-
info.
you should've stated.
Whatever, 75.
How you think?
Uh,
So the price thing anymore is not an argument.
Anyway, it's
so
still,
now we
it's
talked
still a
about
lot.
ability.
75. I think
Uh,
75 is still a lot.
Do you think West Ham and Chelsea play the same way, system-wise?
Exactly.
No.
We don't. No, we don't.
We don't. Okay. So what you said and what he needs at West Ham is not currently applicable to Chelsea because we went through that.
Exactly. Yes.
There's a possible case, and you
that.
probably mentioned it. Does Jorginho need 3 centre backs?
I don't know.
Does Jorginho need any help?
I would say no. He doesn't. He can play in a 4 as well. He did it for in Italy,
Yeah, he did it for Italy.
and he played well there. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, he kind
So-
of won a big trophy there.
Sorry, I have to jump in to answer True Blue. No, I am on loan to Fulham. I am on loan. I'm not. I have not left Chelsea. I'm just like.
But you don't speak bad about Chelsea when you're on loan.
He's not living. He has
Bro,
right.
if
can't play
you're
against your own club.
seriously, if you're
Go
seriously,
ahead, Matt. Quickly, Matt. Go ahead. Let me bring on someone else. We have 2 more players.
Hold on.
three
This
to
is
talk about.
hold on. This is ridiculous.
Hold on. Who are you? I've never met you before, and all of a sudden you're dominating our
This is
panel.
minerals.
Excuse me.
Minerals right there.
Excuse
This is
me.
minerals.
This is ridiculous that you're all of a sudden leaving Chelsea when good and well.
No,
who our
I
owner
left
used to
Chelsea
be.
because we lost Rudiger. Okay, and I'm on loan to Fulham right now. I'm on loan.
You don't
Rudiger,
leave a club because
All right, let's not
somebody
deviate from the topic too much.
Rudiger,
Matt, you were still talking,
Rudiger
right?
was never going to
Declan was
resign,
going-
right?
Declan was going
Rudiger
on
was
something.
never going to resign. Rudiger was never going to resign. He lied to the fans. I hope you realize that.
I don't even
Yeah,
know
we
who
don't-
you
Let's
are.
let Matt
sir.
finish.
And if you're,
Matt,
and if
go
you're
ahead,
on
Matt,
worldwide
go ahead.
channel, I really
Yeah.
don't have respect for you. Sorry.
We don't need to talk about Rudiger. And I think
Well,
the
if
same
you don't
point
have
about
respect for
Declan
me,
Rice
I'm gone. See you.
was I saying about minerals gone, but declared what were you saying?
Wonderful. I am a hero tonight. Thank you.
Go ahead, Matt.
No,
I was
just
saying, do you think he's
Go on,
sloppy on the
go on.
ball too? Because that was one of his great strengths, that he actually is the link up in the build up for West Ham, and it's probably his better part of his game at what he does with the ball. You said he's sloppy,
I think he's.
I don't see him lose the ball a lot.
I think
and he doesn't. That's
when
one of
he
his
goes
greatest
in
things.
for
Whereas
tackles-
West Ham would
when
be
he
in
goes
trouble
in
all
for
the time.
tackles, his first clearance or his touch. I think that's very sloppy. Shooting, passing, whatever. I don't know. That's not sloppy, but I think it's getting to the ball. His tackles, his first touch to the ball. So his clearances. They're
That's
very
not
sloppy.
sloppy.
Yes, it is. That's sloppy.
It's what he
Because-
does with
because
the
he
ball. You
makes
said
mistakes.
it's sloppy.
Exactly, clearances. Instead of going straight, they go wide. Instead of the tackle, he comes from behind. He slips on it. Putting in a tackle in the wrong
He
moment.
what?
I'm giving
Can you explain
examples.
that bit again? Sorry, didn't
I'm
make
giving
sense.
examples. When he goes in for tackles, he comes from behind, or like he goes for tackles where he shouldn't be going for. Instead of jockeying, he dives in. When he clears the ball, it goes wide instead of straight. That's what I mean by sloppy, in the sense that.
So when he
doesn't
clears the
do
ball,
right stuff.
they're not accurate.
Yeah, they're not accurate.
Listen,
it's not all
what
the
you
time.
just
I'm
described
giving
is very
examples.
picky. A DM in many situations will
Going
dive in,
for a tackle from
will
behind
take the
is
hit
picky. I wouldn't
rather
take
than the
that.
centre back taking the hit. The best of the DMs have done that, right? I'll bring up, SCN has done that too, right? He will say the DM can be more rash in their tackles and can take more risk in terms of so it doesn't fall that situation onto our centre backs. That's how it works. I think I think you're being very picky, and I don't think you got nothing to say good about Rice. If I tell you what's his positives, besides
told you his
leadership
positive. It's his
and non-playing
leadership.
football things.
That's his positive.
What about his skills?
He's not a skiller. He's not 5-star skills.
To pick one of his clearances not being accurate. I mean,
no, I was giving examples on how he's sloppy. Like, it's not just that.
Tell me on other players that their clearance is pretty accurate on their kickouts.
Look at every other centre back, every other CDM. Even Jorginho, if you get a clear. Even Kovacic, I've seen multiple times clears. But I'm just saying, from like as example, like the way he just kind of gets the ball from the back to the front, or like how he needs to rush. Example, getting the ball from the back to the front quickly when they've got a press going. That's very sloppy. And that's something we need to point out, because we see Jorginho, he does it very calmly when we're transitioning, from the back to the front. How he gets the ball back, he does it very calmly. Rice
is very decent at that, bro.
I thought he's very sloppy, and we saw it against England as well the other week. I think that kind of cleared my point.
Oh yeah, that one game, yeah. That's great. You know that argument. I already saw that argument because someone picked out that bad England game that he had, right? And funny enough,
not just that
someone
game.
else picked the Tchouameni game from last night, right? And there was clips on him as well where he was just giving the ball away back to back. And if we're just going to take that narrative and we'll pick out one moment just to make a whole point on his whole career or his whole season or something like that, then Tchouameni is a bad player too. If you want to do that too, out of one game. But if you look at West Ham, if you look at the map, a lot of the balls go through him. He does actually a good job, right, at distributing from that position. He's not as good as Jorginho. Jorginho's best attribute and probably one of the best in the world in doing that, right? But Jorginho lacks in other things. Where I think Rice could come in and actually do a decent role in what Jorginho did, plus when it comes to defending and other abilities, that's when Rice excels over Jorginho. So maybe you got to look at it like that rather than
who's holding his hand.
Who's holding his hand? Souček's the guy that goes forward. Who holds Rice's hands?
Souček's still
all right,
why would they give him captain if he needs his hand held?
For you, Phantom, you're still there. I think we're going to argue this. We just be going round and round.
Here. Yes.
Tin. I get your argument, Declan. You believe he fits in well with us. Matt doesn't think so, and I don't think he's what we need. But if Thomas Tuchel says he wants him, he's seen a reason for him to come join us, and he's already figured out a way, to make it work. But that's, by the way, Phantom, your thoughts about Rice coming to Chelsea so we can move to the next player on board.
75 million, let's go for it. Hey, since now West Ham is just full of BS, let's get him for 45, because it looks like Rice is going to not re-sign, and West Ham's word is not bond. I thought it was bond, but it's not bond, meaning it's no good. And once you lose your word, and see, I'm not even going to pay the 75 for Rice now. I'm going to ask for 45 and then lowball them.
Which was somebody said in the chat said we're probably going to get him for cheap. And Bobby in the chat says we're already signing Rice. I think we're already in talks with West Ham United.
They made me look bad, so I'm going to go for lowballing now. So I thought they treated Rice like a Mason Mount, like somebody that they would not go for $100 million, but they just put egg on my face. So I'm sorry. Yeah.
And with that, we have just 14 likes to get to 100 likes. Please, if you haven't, 13 now. If you haven't, please keep liking the video. It takes just a second and it costs nothing. And also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And here says, I don't think we're getting two midfielders. I wish we can get two midfielders, Declan Rice and Bissouma. I think Bobby said we're going for both. And there's a chance because Bissouma isn't a traditional DM. He's a box-to-box midfielder. I think he will make a good replacement for N'Golo Kante, or you can, back up, or, a player he rotates with. Again, that's a comment I saw. Bissouma himself's come with a PR nightmare. I don't know what they did. Somebody told us here in the chat that he was just a witness, and then the other day we're learning that he may well be the suspect, but I don't know until I hear from an official source. Then we'll know. Says, put me on this panel. I got time to enlighten you. Yeah, again, how do I send you the link? I'm not going to put the link in the chat there. There's a huge risk with that. Rice is really good. Here's the thing: the argument isn't whether Rice is good or not. The argument, given the way we've played under Tuchel, whether he fits into the way we play. And my argument before was the price tag. Now the price has gone down. My argument is, will he fit into the team? That's just that I have never for once said Rice is a bad player. No, I haven't. And I've always thought that Manchester United will be the best move for him and not Chelsea. Again, that's me. Says yes, he always go wide off the pitch. Never seen him going forward. Again, people have different arguments why they don't want Rice to come to Chelsea Football Club. Why are we not in for Leroy Sané? I don't know. Is he available? I don't even know. Our budget is 200 million. I think it's more than that. And I think what we were hearing, those things we were hearing before are all just nonsense. We're learning there's more actually to spend. What we had before is it's 200 million, and that will be available after sales of players. But all those things we're learning now are absolute nonsense. Rice, De Jong, or Bissouma will work for us. Again, if you ask me, I prefer Bissouma. Again, for some reasons that I've explained here before. Who was I don't know his name. Just call him Kalidou. I've met him. He's got great energy, but maybe a different approach to the way he likes to approach stuff. Good morning, Kuchila. How you there, my brother out there? Fine. How you two there? I hope you're doing well. I cannot judge player on one game. That's the truth. It takes multiple games to get, you have enough sample to judge that player. Sorry, what did you say here? Again, it says this obsession about Rice is the reason why we have missed out on most of our DM options. I just wonder why the top teams in Europe are not scrambling for his signature if he's so good. You could argue that, but at the same time, for instance, Madrid, usually, except for Beckham, what other English player that have played for Madrid? Usually they prefer French.
Big up the club.
They prefer French players. That may well be the case, but I don't know. We need to sign what Tuchel wants. It's as simple as that. It all comes down to what Tuchel wants. We can argue here from now to tomorrow. If Tuchel doesn't want Rice, he gets him. And whatever he does with Rice, that's his business. I've lost count of the times J5 is dispossessed with his sole action is to look for a free kick or foul. That's the truth.
Truth.
Yep.
Yeah. When True Blue and I agree on something, then it must be true.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to skip everything and go down to the very bottom. Sorry if I skipped your comment. Just because I'm trying to catch up. I don't have a studio engineer here. Links are sent on other platforms because of some point cam issues. We don't want that to happen here. Again, let me see if anybody there. Okay. Now coming back to the panel, Louisa, let's start with you. You haven't spoken for a while. Maybe you're just getting acquainted to how it happens when we have many people on the panel. But for your show, it would just be you and your guest, or maybe me if you want to. But the question I have for you now, for Koulibaly, we're hearing that we've approached them with an offer of 10 million a year, which should be around 200 or 250. Declan, am I right with that? Or Matt, is that correct? I think around that number. Your thoughts, do you think it's a player we need to bring in?
I think Koulibaly is actually a player that at that amount, at 10 million a year, we should...
No, for his salary, that's just his salary.
Which is around 200. We're going to be getting
200, 250, yeah.
Yeah, which is around that 200 to 50 ballpark. But here's the thing: we need to look at the vacuum we have in the team. We're losing Rudiger, which I feel like Koulibaly can slot in. Koulibaly can slot in for that. But people are arguing about his age. So we have a pretty, compared to other teams, we have a pretty young team. So I feel like if you are considering age for our players, we need to also realize that we need a perfect balance for age, for experience, and for youth. We need a perfect balance of that. We have most of our players are still in their 20s. I think Kante and Thiago Silva, okay, Jorginho, which were most likely trying to, which Juventus are still trying to get on his case. We have just a few of these experienced players, and if you notice, there are some games where they are just, it's experience that can get you over the line. You know that, okay, you've been here before, you know what to do to get out of this position. Sometimes we've lacked that next level, that experience that will get us over the line in some games where it feels like nothing is going our way. So I feel like it would be the perfect mix, especially now that we're trying to get in a whole kind of a brand new defense going on. Koulibaly will be the perfect fit for what we're trying to do, and it's definitely not going to cost us as much as, I think they said Kounde is a done deal. So that's aside, it's definitely not going to cost us as much as De Ligt. So for now, Koulibaly is one of the best options among what we have, because obviously there are other better players that we could be going after. But what the players who are linked to, I feel like if we do get him, then get Kounde along, we should be good for at least 2 seasons. He's 30, he's 30 or no, he's 30.
He's 30. Koulibaly is 30, yeah.
Defenders usually have a longer lifespan than midfielders and attackers because they don't have to like exert themselves as much as strikers who have to run like almost the entire length of the pitch most of the time. So we still have at least 2 to 3 years. If he takes care of his body, we still have at least 3 good years of him playing at a top level.
I think it makes sense. Again, I do agree with you on the importance of ensuring balance. We don't just focus on going on the on the 23s or 22s. We need experience. Experience is why, again, that I've used this as an example before. Experience, or let me say, balance is the reason why Real Madrid were able to win the last edition of the Champions League, even though the players have all, they don't have the best team, if you want to face it, if you could say that, but because the experience, they have patience. They were taught that they've lost to Man City, we've thought they've lost to, the game against us. There are, I think, 3 games like that where you thought, okay, they're out of the competition, and they were, you see, they exercised a patience, and they were able to come through those games. It is because they have experience. So it's important to have balance between youth and experience. Then you can go places. When it's all youth, then you have a mentality issues. But that's, by the way, a great point right there. Ty, coming to you, your thoughts on Koulibaly. Do you think it's something that's going to happen? De Laurentiis, how do I say the Napoli owner's name, is a very difficult man to deal with, even though I think he has just, how long does he have on his contract? I think just, okay, his contract expires in 2023. He has just 1 year left on his contract, but still, when you're talking about Napoli, the owner isn't an easy person to deal with.
Yeah. With Koulibaly, I think it could happen. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to happen, because I still think that with these news coming out that he's not going to extend with Napoli, it could attract more teams, and teams can afford him, especially for the price tag that has been placed on him now. So I'm not sure if it's 100% going to happen. It should happen.
And he's already said he wants to go to Barcelona.
Yeah, so I mean it's 50-50, and I mean it has to do with if he's gonna be waiting for them to sort out their financial issue, and that's probably gonna take a very long time. But I feel like if it happens, it would be excellent, because I think everybody, or probably not everybody, but most people have been saying that he would be the most ideal option as a replacement for Rudiger in terms of leadership, and he has that strength and bulkiness, and I think he has a bit of pace left in him. So I think all of that would come in handy. But at the moment, I'm not really sure if it's 100% happening, because right now it's a case of who fights hardest for him. And I mean, I don't really like us getting into battles with players, because it never ends well.
Yeah, again, I do hope we'll get him because he brings experience. And again, you could say he's a mashup of Antonio Rudiger and Thiago Silva because he can be aggressive if need be. He's good on the ball. He can be calm if need be. Again, I think he will be the perfect signing for us so we can have a blend of experience and youth in the defensive department of our team. I'm going to try and catch up with the chat so it's not too long now. Again, Bobby says, the Tripoli says, told you Bissouma is going to Pentonville prison near Arsenal. Can you explain further? I'm not sure why. Rice deal nearly done. Are you serious about that? Tell us more. My POV, Koulibaly is upgrade of Rudiger in back three. I'm not sure. Again, maybe you're making sense. I don't know. For me, the only reason we should go
Actually,
for
that's
Rice
kind of
is
right.
if.
When you think about it,
Sorry?
Rudiger is very susceptible when it comes to playing a back three compared to Koulibaly. Rudiger is better at that's the reason why it felt like over the past like 1.5 years where Tuchel took over and played to Rudiger's defense in the defense, it looked like it just became a completely different player because now that he was going to Madrid and he was flirting with Madrid, it felt like people were asking if he has become a Chelsea legend. And I'm like, Rudiger had 2 seasons for us tops that he was a very good player. He was not nowhere near. It wasn't up to this price that he's even asking for when it came to his salary at first. But he's just capitalizing on his good form, and I feel like no player should be like sidelined for going after the money because it's their job after all. They need to make a living from it, and if they see that okay, now they've gotten place, they've got into a situation in their career where they were able to capitalize on what they've done before. Because Rudiger is being paid for what he did for the last 1.5 years. He's not being paid for the entirety of his career. He hasn't been like the man. He's been the man
can I
for us.
ask you why Chelsea fans think that he has been the man when what you're saying is completely accurate and it's fair? I have to ask, why do you think Chelsea fans are all of a sudden thinking he's this, legend when he's only been good with the new manager?
It's like a short-term memory loss. That's half of them.
Because what happened now with Rudiger is that the reason is Thiago Silva has been great for us, but Thiago Silva is at that age where you are like, okay, he's winding down on his career. But Rudiger is at that point where you can say he's at the peak of his career, and people feel like Rudiger still have like at least 5 good years left in him. So people are thinking, okay, he is the person we should be giving more money to in the defense to stay, so that we don't have like a complete overhaul in our defense, because he has been like one of the go-to defenders for the past 1.5 years. He's not that great of a defender, but Tuchel's system has really made him to like shine, and it has covered up any other places where he had shortcomings previously that Lampard exposed that wasn't really good. So I feel like that's the only reason he has been stable into Thomas' system, and we all want Thomas to stay. At least a good percentage of us want Thomas to stay. So we feel like
but hey, so and I totally agree with everything you just said because it was beautifully stated as well. Well done. Do you believe, as I believe, that because of the animosity that came up with Frank Lampard and Rudiger, and I feel like there was irreparable damage there. I feel like he had just made up his mind, and even if Tuchel came in and kind of reinvented the player, I don't think it mattered. I believe he was always going to go to Real Madrid, and his mind was made up before we hired Tuchel. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, about the Madrid thing, I feel like when Madrid comes calling for a lot of these foreign players, because most times we get to keep English players because, of course, English Premier League, but Madrid has like a high pedigree. We're not going to deny that Madrid is kind of like a bigger deal than Chelsea for what they've done, and we know that Madrid, apart from history, Madrid still has like the capacity to still get more consistent trophies when you compare them to Chelsea, especially when you think about the league we play in. In the league we play in, there are like realistically four teams that can win the league. Then compared to La Liga, where it's Real Madrid and now Barca is falling off. So I feel like he wants to go somewhere where he can be applauded, he can get the recognition, the trophies, and then the money, because he feels like this is the time for him to make that career jump. If he had waited one more year at Chelsea, he definitely wasn't getting that money he's getting at Madrid right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me quickly catch up the chat. I'll come back to the panel in a bit because it's becoming too long. This is designed to be an interactive show. I'll big up to my brother, Almighty Blues, Ankit from Almighty Blues FC. If you haven't, please go check out his channel and make sure to subscribe. Says it will be around 8 million euros as his wage between. You're talking about Koulibaly. Okay. So many names being linked to Chelsea. Again, that's why with Chelsea, if the transfer window opens and every good player on planet Earth isn't linked to Chelsea, then something is wrong. But I don't even think we're getting half of them at the rate Chelsea moving. You can't tell. We've argued before. They may well be doing quite a lot of business behind the door. Big up Kuchila and the panel. Big up to you too, DJ. I says big up to everyone in the comment. And he says that Chelsea are in talks to sign Chicago Fire goalkeeper Gabrial Slonina. Real Madrid had an official bid turned down last week with a decision.
Is this the MLS player? The MLS player?
Yeah, the goalkeeper. Again, I don't think there's anything else I have to read here. Let me just come to the panel. I think I'm going to skip quite a lot. Juve has Origani, Winter City and centre back. They get Jorginho and money to replace De Ligt. Again, that may work. It depends on what they want. How do we feel about Kane to Chelsea? That's absolute nonsense. It's never going to happen. Sorry to say that. Probable, feasible. Again, it's never going to happen. No need to even waste my energy talking about it. Kane to Chelsea will never happen. Somebody else is helping me there.
Of course it's not happening.
Yeah, it will never.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, Chelsea fans are biased. I never deemed Rudiger a legend. I don't think he's a legend. I don't think so. Again, even if he was close to becoming,
he's in the record. He's in the record books, but he's not. He's fine. He's
a good player. I think that's about it.
Even the manner at which he has left the club, I think, puts a huge question mark.
Hey, fellas, he ain't Ashley Cole. All right, come on.
Yeah, so I'm going to come back to the panel. Let me start with you. I don't know if you've spoken. Let us know what you think about the links with Koulibaly. Do you think it's something that's going to happen? Ty, are you gone?
No, I spoke about it.
Oh, you already did? Okay. Let me come to
Carlito.
Oh, okay. Carlito, go ahead. You talk about your thoughts. You think we can get him, or you think it's never going to work because he said he wants to join Barcelona?
Okay, sorry. Is this Lewandowski?
No. We're talking about Koulibaly.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Koulibaly. Really good player. And people that understand this type of guy and what he's been doing at Napoli is kind of special, actually. I feel like he's come late to the party, actually. I don't know, man. 30 years old. It might be too late, unfortunately. I like the player. I do. But giving him $10 million a year and giving him a 5-year deal, that might be a bridge too far.
No, I don't think we'll give him a 5-year deal. Probably the most will be 3 years.
No, I'm just talking on what's been reported. I would look. I also think that adding, Gvardiol, who's 20 years old, that could be someone that's too young. I would actually like to offer an alternative that we are also linked to, whom I think is not only a better player but a better fit, and that is Matthijs de Ligt.
Yeah, Bissouma Kounde legit. Okay, I think I've let delete, so to speak. Here's the thing. I think if we're getting him to rotate to Thiago Silva, then I wouldn't complain so much about his age.
Yeah. I understand.
If we're getting him to be, a straight up replacement for Antonio Rudiger, that's where I have an issue because he needs to run. He needs to be able to run to stop some of the pacey forwards we have in the Premier League. So if the club are really looking at him, I'd argue they're probably looking at him to come, and rotate with Thiago Silva to lead at the back line from the central position, not really on the flanks. I think it will be a good signing for us. Again, like we've established, we need balance. We need balance in the defensive line. Without balance, I think we'll have issues. Your thoughts, Matt?
I think Koulibaly is fantastic. I think he's exactly what we need right now. We need someone to come in and replace that leadership. And he is a replacement for Thiago Silva, not really good, but he slots into a really good position. Whereas he will sit aside Thiago Silva until Thiago Silva departures. But for me, Thiago Silva isn't even a starting player next season. He's a rotational player. He's too old to be a starting player. So I think Koulibaly comes and fits that slot in perfectly. He's got that leadership in him. And I think he's a fantastic defender. However, my only kind of concern is that he's been in the market since 2018. He's been valued 80 million, 65 million, 75 million, but no team has ever bought him. And that's the same thing with Ziyech. No one ever bought Ziyech, and then we bought him, and then he kind of didn't turn out that well, as we know. So that's my only kind of concern against Koulibaly, but I have more positives towards him because I've seen him, this season. He's done decent. I don't think it's been his best season, but he's still a great player. And if Tuchel is in for him, I'm in for him too. And I think we should be getting not just him, obviously Kounde as well, and him. And if we want, we can get the other guy, Guardiola, whatever.
Vardiol,
Vardiol.
Yeah, we get him as well. Like, there's no.
No, here's what. How old is Vardiol?
He's 20. He's 20.
Why not Levi Colwell? It's the same position.
No, because Levi Colwell isn't ready.
No. Come on, Matt. We have to.
Matt is right. Hold on. I know what you're going to say, but here's the problem. Vardiol has played first team, first division football. Levi Colwell has not. This is why.
And the first division in question you're talking about is German football, right?
No.
I agree. Yes, we don't need to rush for a player like Guardiola because we do have Levi Colwell. But if we're going to bring in someone for this season, then we can bring in Levi Colwell. But if we're going to bring him long term, then we got Levi Colwell. But I do think, as I said, Levi Colwell is not ready. It's not ready to dictate his future.
Can you tell me why you think it's not ready, Matt?
Because I don't think he's played that well at Huddersfield. And I would rather someone come in.
You're the first person I'm hearing this for.
Let him speak. Let him speak.
I think we rushed Chalobah. Chalobah had a decent season, but it's because he played next to Thiago Silva, and I think that Chalobah's a better player than Levi Colwell. So why would I bring Levi Colwell to a team where Chalobah got kind of not lucky in a sense, but he's a better player and he did decent. What says Levi Colwell's going to come in and do very, very well?
I mean, Matt's kind of hinting at something that it's kind of a gamble. Like, not every player is going to come in and be Reece James.
Even Vardiol will be a gamble too.
Right. But he's also played first team. He's also played first team football. He's also played first team football for.
Let me ask this quickly. Let me ask this, Kalidou.
Sure.
What's the difference between the Premier League and the Championship? They're the same in terms of if you're looking at things from physical perspective, pace, and everything.
No. You're not wrong
quality,
about
you could say the Premier League has more quality.
No, I'm not saying that. Actually, it's funny you should say that because the Championship probably has even more intense running. It's kind of a weird league. I would just say, I mean, the idea is that your expectation when you play in the Premier League is that top to bottom, every team has a chance to lose. This is not the same as every other league. Where, sometimes in the Bundesliga, and this is actually arguing against my point about Gabrial, but it's relevant. When you play in the Bundesliga, you probably expected to win if you're one of the top three teams. In England, you have no idea who's going to win. It doesn't matter if you're Man City or Norwich. It's a gamble, but at the same time, Matt does have the point that Colwell is a fancy player. He is. But he may not be ready, and it may just be.
How do you know until you give him a chance?
Oh no! But
a chance on him, though.
But the thing is that what if we wait one more year? What if we give him one more year? Because look, again, not every player is Reece James, who, by the way, is not just one of the best players in England. He's one of the best players in the world, and that's a fact. But it just depends, and you have to be discerning about this. You have to be careful. Because what if he becomes Who was the kid, Matt? Who was the white boy that McCrellich? Who was the guy that just kept getting loaned out? Was supposed to be this big deal.
Josh McCracken.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, it could be that, or it could be Reece James. You never know, but you have to handle it with kid gloves. You do.
We're just an average defender. Like we don't.
Yeah, Phantom, you wanted to say something? Go ahead.
As far as Champions League is concerned, they do not have the concept of parking the bus or any kind of defense. Everybody plays like Leeds. They're just attack. I watch a lot of Champions League because I'm subscribed to the Fulham TV thing. And other than Nick Blue, who probably does watch more championship games than me, I'm probably number 2 in terms of watching Championship League. And when I'm watching them, they are always just very attack-minded, and defense is just a second consideration. I think that's why Mitrovic can score 20 goals in the Championship League and then come here to the Premier League and fail.
Good point, Phantom. Good point.
I would say just
one more thing. I'm approaching 6 o'clock. Thank you, everybody. Just to let you know, Carlito, it wasn't anything personal against you. It was just that you said that set me off. It wasn't. I don't know you, sir. I don't know you. So.
Oh no, we're good, man. And hey, if I upset you, it was not my intention, man. Not at all. I like your points.
You're brand new here. I don't know you. I don't know you enough to hate you. Let's put it that way.
Here's the other thing. I love the points you made, brother. I love the points you made. You smart guy. I love it.
Yeah. Who else I haven't spoken about?
I just want to quickly go back about the same point to what's his name, Colwill. That's a risk I'm not willing to take. I don't know, Coach, like why you would say you want to bring him. I mean, the majority of the fans want to bring him are just, Colm lovers. I wouldn't bring him in because I don't think he's ready. He just got hyped recently because, we're needing a defender. And if we really want, this best of this boy, the best we should do is wait. Same with Gilmour. Gilmour wants first team football at Chelsea. He's not going to get it.
Not going to get it.
Get him out of here. I don't care.
If you don't do that, you're not going to keep him. You can't keep him.
Mr. Perspective.
You have to sell him. Go ahead.
Mr. Perspective. Matt is hitting on a point that is almost a disease within this fan base. And that is that everybody loves the next guy up that played for our academy. And the problem, and Matt knows this, and he continues to harp on this. This is why I love this guy. If you have a team full of academy players, then your team's probably not very good. And that is the truth. And that is why we need to be discerning about, maybe Reece James comes along once in a while. Maybe Mason Mount comes along once in a while. But this idea that everyone should be allowed a chance at Chelsea, I just feel like that is a recipe for disaster.
That's not possible. Again,
it's just not. It's impossible.
Yeah, and there's no chance. We cannot keep them all.
Fans need to stop doing. Fans need to stop doing this. They need to stop doing this because Billy Gilmour will never play for this first team again. He will never play for this team again.
He's done. I know.
He's done.
That may well be the case because again, in terms of negotiation, he's on a very strong ground. He has just 1 year left on his contract, and if Thomas Tuchel wants him to stay, he'd say, "Okay, you have to guarantee me game time," and I don't see that happening. He's going to leave, and we have to sell him. And the most we can do now is insert a buyback clause on his contract. But that's why let me quickly try to catch up the chat. I haven't been fair with those in the chat today, and I don't think they're going to be happy with me. Says the reason, Rollo says the reason why no one bought Koulibaly from Napoli all these years is simply because of the Napoli owner chairman. The owner is notorious for being a difficult negotiator. Yep, I know that already.
Yeah, it is true.
And I've said that before. Even though Koulibaly has just 1 year left on his contract, he's not going to come on as cheap as people think he would. Vardiol ain't that great. Seen him make a lot of mistakes. He cannot be a first-team player for us. It's that simple. So that's why I'm arguing, why don't we just give Colwell a chance?
Because Tuchel backs that Guardi, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Vardiol.
Vardiol.
Yeah, so coming back to you, Louisa, can you tell me, what do you think about Levi Colwell? Shouldn't we give him a chance? But two brothers here on the panel are saying he's not ready.
Of course, like I think another thing we're trying to create is that we need to get, because as football is progressing, every player is becoming like inflated, their price is getting more expensive. So we're trying to look at our academy about making it great. And one of the incentives of making your academy great to attract like this really young talent is trying to show them a path, that there's like a path to the senior team, which is all well and good, but we also want to be winning trophies in our senior team. We don't want to be developing our academic graduates in our senior team. That's what the development squad is for. So Levi Colwell is a young hot thing right now, but I feel like it's not Chelsea level. It's not Chelsea ready right now.
Really? I thought you were going to be on my side. Oh, my goodness.
Levi Colwell is not first team ready right now.
Hey, Mr. Perspective, I'm with her.
No, I thought Louisa was going to be on my side. It turns out she's supporting you guys. But
Is her name Louise, by the way? Your name
Louisa.
Louisa?
Yes.
Can I be very honest with you? I loved everything that you have said on this panel.
Yeah, of course. She's against me. Why wouldn't you love it?
No, she's brilliant. Much smarter than you, Mr. Perspective. Get out of here.
Here's the thing. Here's a delicious comment here. But I get your point, though. Don't care. We have a talent in Colwell. And believe me, I still think he can match Vadio. Maybe, be even more suitable to the way we play than Vadio, who hasn't played in a pacey league like the Premier League, in a physical league than the Premier League. But Colwell has played in the Champions League, which is even more physical than the Premier League itself.
Yeah, my issue with Colwell is Chelsea wants to compete on up front. Chelsea wants to play European football.
Which means he gets a chance to play. We need a big squad.
If we can keep Colwell, I'm not against keeping Colwell. My issue is Colwell is not going to be a first team member, and keeping Colwell is just okay. I want you to be practicing within the team so you can get a feel of what's going on in the team. Barely coming in as a sub, maybe last.
That's what we're asking for. That's
what Louisa is saying is that if Chelsea wants him to stay, they will be being selfish.
Yes, it is going to be selfish.
It makes sense.
It potentially become greater compared to what it could be as a 10-minute sub, a 15-minute sub. The only reason Colwell is going to stay is if Thomas can committedly say that, okay, this season you are going to be on the bench. Next
He's
season
never going to say that. Go ahead. It looks like we lost her.
Oh, no.
Yeah, her screen is frozen. But again, I think we should give Colwell a chance. Go ahead. Anybody want to say something more?
Matt's
got something to say. It's the same thing with Harvey Vale. The same thing. It's like they only come in if we need slots. But I wouldn't force these players, and we've done that. We've done that with Chalobah. Yes, it worked out. We were lucky it worked out. It didn't work out with the Gilmore. It didn't work out with Gallagher. Like we don't. I don't want these players to be forced. Like, we should be resting them. So that's why I wouldn't bring in Harvey Vale either. If we need like right now, we need Broja. So that's why we're bringing him in right now. We need a striker. That's why we're bringing him in. I don't want to force in these players if we don't need them.
Right, but Matt's also making the point that you have to be discerning about who we're talking about, because Broja has done some business at the club that he was just on loan for. And if we bring him in, even if he doesn't start, I think he's proven enough where we can actually do the thing that you're asking, which is giving him a chance. Because he deserves one.
Yeah, I think he deserves a chance. Again, you're talking about Broja, right?
Yeah, I just, he's kind of a really clever player, man.
He's a fine player.
Yeah, he's got something. I can just see it. He's got something that it's almost arrogance, but subdued. I just feel like he might think that Chelsea is not too big for him, and he might actually be able to handle this.
Yeah,
I bring up that comment from Abay TV if you want to. where he goes this scenario with injured Silva, suspended Koulibaly. Let's say hypothetically that happens at Bay TV, then we would bring in a Chalobah because Chalobah's that man. Chalobah's our youth on the pitch, on the bench. There's no point bringing Colwell, who'll be another add-on to that. And we also have Sar there. So that's our kind of youth players in quotations. And then adding another one to that isn't going to fit. I want more experienced players. We're going to have 3 youth players. We should be having way more experienced players over youth players. So,
yeah, Matt, I was going to ask you, do you think Chalobah is like a great player?
I think it's quite
It's
good.
not great yet, but he will get there if you ask me.
He's not
so
great
do you think he's as good as, Jules Kounde?
Oh, no.
Yeah, you could. I think they're 2 different kind of players.
No, I know that they're 2 different kind of players, but guess what? They're going to be asked to play the same position.
I don't think I think Chalobah would be a fantastic backup, though. I think.
Yeah, but that's what I like. That's what I want. Because I think Chalobah was kind of thrown to the fire. He's done all right, but he does make a lot of mistakes. A good guy though. Like he's
confidence.
Yeah, no, it is. It definitely.
Yeah, Ty, you wanted to say something.
Sorry, Ty, I interrupted you. My bad.
I wanted to say 2 things. Is Luis sleeping or praying? It looks like she's praying.
No, our screen hung so that she went out and came back in. Louisa, you're still there, right? I think it's frozen again. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, what I was gonna say about Levi Colwill is I think Levi Colwill he's a hot prospect, if you can say that, and he looks like he's a promising talent. The thing is, yes, people want to say that we have 5 subs next season, and that's good. But I mean, even then, would he be the option that you bring off the bench if you need defensive coverage? Because let's say hypothetically, we're 2-0 down, and you have a player who's injured. You're gonna bring on Levi Colwill.
It's a difficult question to ask, man.
Yeah. So for me, I think he's a promising talent. Yes, people say keep him around, let him develop on the silver, and that is possible. But I mean, let's not try to use that. Oh, look at what happened to Chalobah. Chalobah was a lucky situation that in the end worked out. Because
100%.
Because on the verge, even after the Crystal Palace game, he was going to still go out on loan, but the setback was that he wanted to be used as a defender and not as a CDM, and I think it was Valencia where they used him as a DM. So he kept saying that no, he doesn't want to be a DM. Then the deal fell apart and then the window closed. So obviously, in that case, I mean, it really just shows luck. But with Colwill, I think he has the right attitude. I can remember the playoff game. I think he had a little touch and he went in as an own goal. But in that second half, he worked harder. His head never dropped. And I mean, look at what happened. They weren't able to score, and I was Nottingham Forest. They weren't able to score again against Huddersfield. And after the game, he would said that he had an unfortunate situation, but he didn't let that prevent him from having his head held high and trying to work hard. And
he's got a strong mentality, if you want to phrase it like that.
And that's good. And but I feel like, with me, I like to consider what happens with these youth players when they stay around. So for me, I think the best option is probably to loan him out one more time so he can get game time. Because I think in order for him to develop, he needs to be playing. You can't just be developing by watching other players play. So I think him coming back from Huddersfield while he was being a starter, playing most of the games, it really isn't good because that's basically like a drop off from what he was doing before. And yes, the demands are different between Huddersfield and Chelsea. But I mean, in order for him to develop, he needs game time. And the clubs that are interested in him, he can get those minutes. So I think it depends on who the club decides to loan him to. But
here's where I'm concerned. He said Broya, who again? I think one of them again have said they need. If the club intends to keep them for them to be big part player, that they're going to look elsewhere. And it's easy for them. Why do I say that? Because they have no shortage of suitors. Liverpool will have clubs that want to buy him. Broya have clubs that want to buy him. Gallagher the same thing. So if we cannot
we can't allow that to dictate what we want to do with them.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's a great point. My point is, again, there's a chance about 2 of them may well leave on loan. There's also Ampadu. There's also Gilmore, who has just 1 year left on his contract.
Yeah,
No,
Ampadu
I'm just saying, there's a chance only Gallagher stays. Actually,
hey, Mr. Perspective, there's one thing that we need to, address about Chalobah. Look, man, the reason that Chalobah was given, a starting position at certain points, the reason he scored that goal where he collapsed on his knee and everyone basically got chills up their spine because of how beautiful that moment was. I remember that moment. I will always remember that moment because it's basically tattooed in my brain because of how wonderful his reaction was. The reason that he was given a chance is because Sevilla reneged on the deal that we had with them for Jules Kounde. And
simple. We couldn't get Kounde.
But the president, hold on, because this is important. The president came out yesterday and he said the reason that we reneged on the deal with Chelsea is because we wanted to see if the valuation of Jules Kounde would go up after a year. The ironic part about it is that they're going to get less this time around than they would have gotten if they just stuck to the business principle of a deal is a deal. And they played themselves. And that is why we're going to get Jules Kounde for less than we offered last year.
For sure. Bobby, how you doing, brother?
Hi, Coach. I'm neck deep in work. I really didn't want to jump on. I was listening to you, trying to contribute in the chat a little bit, but I had to jump on when I heard the talk about these young players. Jesus. Honestly, Coach, you're my brother. I love you so much, but this is where we fall out. Because I have watched the academy. I've been there. I've seen these guys in the flesh. I've seen their coaches. I'll take you right back to Jody Morris, who became a coach himself and became a first-team coach with Lampard. So there's very little about the academy that I haven't experienced. And the only gap in my watching academy games live was during the COVID period. That created a disconnect. Now, this idea of game time, I've gone to war with so many people on so many platforms about this. It's a misnomer. It's a nonsense. It was proven with Callum Hudson-Odoi, who played more than enough games with the Chelsea first team last season when there was all that nonsense about sending him on loan to Dortmund. Yes. I think Odoi has played close to 40 games this season. As with,
he's not
Ruben,
wrong. He's not wrong.
That's another discussion. Now, Levi Colwell, I'm not saying categorically he has to stay in the first team squad because I believe that the preseason will determine the destiny of a lot of these young players, whether they're able to stay in the first team squad and play a role or whether they need another loan. Now, this idea that, you've got to be playing game in, game out is a nonsense. Doesn't happen. I don't know where anybody gets this fantasy from. Doesn't happen. If you want to do that, go and play with one of these lower league teams. You want to stay at the top, you're going to have to be part of a rotation. Now, look at Real Madrid. Look at any top teams. Their youngsters are eased in as part of the rotation.
Here's the argument here, Bobby. If I can
no.
Let
him finish.
Let him finish.
Okay, go ahead.
I give an example of Phil Foden. How Pep eased him in. The greatest travesty that has happened in Billy Gilmore's career is whoever misadvised him to leave Chelsea and look to place continuously in a first team.
Yeah, getting first team minutes is what he's saying.
Because he will find it now a very, very difficult pathway back into the Chelsea fold because of that big mistake.
That may never happen, actually.
He was on course to be eased in to the first team. He was getting games here and there. These are young lads. Gilmore's only 21 today. Only 21 today. Colwill, how old is he? 19, 20? How
He's
dare
20.
you come and say you're going to be playing at a top team
19.
and you demand that you have to be playing there minutes in, minutes out? You're not good enough. Simple. Learn your trade. Brozier, he's almost good enough, but he's got to be part of a rotation before he becomes the player we know he can become.
So I have to ask you this.
Was not an investment for Chelsea because we have Brozier. Brozier is our Darwin Núñez, but he needs time in the Chelsea squad, not swanning off somewhere else to be playing useless minutes.
Here's my argument, and I'd argue the same thing about Billy Gilmore. My argument is that he's ready to be part of the team. And
no, he is
not. Kalidou here says he's not ready. Wasn't that?
No. I'm not saying he's not ready. I'm saying he's not good.
But Kalidou, what was my argument?
The same thing.
That he's ready, right?
Yeah, that was your argument.
No, exactly. I never thought
to start every game. No, I just wanted Bobby to understand that. You get
whomever just joined on that brilliant thing that. Who are you, by the way? I'm sorry, my name's Ryan. Who are you? The academy guy.
Kalidou busy making friends here.
No, I'm serious because what he said is so important.
I'll connect you guys on Twitter. Bobby, let me quickly ask you this.
No. I'll leave it at this. No problem.
I'll connect you guys on Twitter.
All right. No. But what I want to say is, look, Brozier is one of the guys that actually is ready to show his shit. But all these other guys that maybe don't have a chance or maybe left too early, leaving Chelsea is a funny thing because once you are out of that, comfort blanket, the world gets cold, bro. And it gets cold fast. And this idea that everybody needs minutes for his progression. Needs minutes to get his progression going. This dude was so spot on the fact that maybe what you need is to be playing and training with some of the best players in the world instead of being in a bad team where all you're doing is chasing, and that doesn't make you better at all. How was Billy Gilmore ever going to get better at Norwich? He wasn't. Exactly. That's the truth. He wasn't. So he might as well have stayed, even if he was in the U23s again, just training with these guys under this warm blanket. Because it's a cold world, brother. It's a cold world.
I do understand that. I even did a video with Lance React on Billy Gilmore, where I argued he shouldn't have gone on loan. It was a bad idea. Stay. And I actually used the example of Phil Foden. So my argument isn't game time for the youth. It's just incorporate them. With time, they get to understand how the manager plays. And like Bobby says, I agree. Billy Gilmore, who's gained ground under Thomas Tuchel, now went on loan where things didn't go well, or maybe as well as he thought they would. Now he's starting from zero. There's no way he comes back and joins the team. It will be a miracle.
No way.
If that happens.
No way.
I mean,
in reality,
guys, there's a lot of loanees returning to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Definitely Gallagher's going to come in. Definitely Brozier's going to come in. So the numbers are limited. I think Levi, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. He's really going to have to rip up trees during pre-season for Tuchel to take the gamble of yet another young player. Chelsea's full of young players right now, full of our academy graduates right now. And what we actually do need, as Matt said, is that we've got to start getting some experience in there. So some of them will go back out on loan. Billy Gilmore, I'm sorry, it's gonna take. I really don't know.
He may
You know,
well leave
all this
Chelsea.
threat
He may
he's
well leave
making.
Honestly,
Chelsea.
get him
That's
out
just
of
the
here.
And he
truth.
should.
Yeah,
Yeah, all
quick
these
question.
threats
Quick
he's
question for
making.
you, Bobby. Quick question
Sorry?
for you. You were saying in the chat that the Declan Rice deal is nearly done, and we're going to get him with Bissouma. Can you update us on that while you're here?
That is not nearly done.
Well,
No
you know,
way.
the Basuma, I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure that the Declan Rice deal is in real progression. It is in progression. You know, Chelsea don't talk when we do our deals, and I'm glad that
Fair
that
point.
the Boehly consortium have taken up the same principle. We do everything very, very much on the quiet, and I think the momentum is gathering with the with the Rice deal. No, not just that I think. From the words of some people that I think are reliable, I think there's something happening there. We're going to be in for a couple of I would like to believe are pleasant surprises this summer. That's for sure.
Sir, what price are you talking about? Because the valuation of Declan Rice has gone down to £75 million.
Only the people in negotiation can tell you the actual price.
Well, no, but
all
nobody
these things are
really knows
speculation.
that.
Nobody
Right.
will really know. Even the 150 million, it's all speculation.
But by the way,
if
that
you
was
ask me-
but that was actually leaked by. I'm sure that was leaked by West Ham.
Well, leaked, exaggerated, fantasized. You won't know till you're doing the deal.
Of course.
If you ask me, I personally believe that Declan Rice will come to Chelsea for about 80 million. But I have no basis for that. That's just my personal belief.
Yeah, that's
No,
still too
and
much
feel
for
is
me.
fine. By the way, feel is fine. And if you know, and then you also have a feeling, then that could be something. My question to you is this: do you think that Chelsea fans will accept him the way that I believe that they should? Because I think this is a great
Chelsea
player.
fans have no problem with
Accept
Gilmore. They
who?
love him.
Declan Rice?
They
No,
love him.
I'm talking
Declan
about
Rice?
Declan Rice.
Gilmore,
yes.
Gilmore.
Declan Rice came through our academy.
No, he's talking about Gilmore.
No, I'm talking about
Oh,
Declan
Billy.
Rice.
Oh,
No, I'm talking
Rice?
about Declan Rice.
Oh. Yeah, I think they will. But
Oh,
I
for
think it
sure.
will be 50-50. Yeah, they will.
Chelsea fans will accept Declan Rice if we get Declan Rice.
Mhm.
He's an
I feel
academy
like
boy.
the determinant
Declan
for
Rice
getting
Sorry, what did you say, Louisa?
the determinant for whether Chelsea fans accept Declan Rice or not is dependent on two things: the price at which we get Declan Rice, because everybody is a financial analyst at Chelsea fan club, and the role in which Thomas plays Declan Rice, and if he does succeed. That is what is going, because Chelsea fans have no patience with players who cannot adapt.
I agree.
quickly.
Everything may well come down to how well he does. Well, go ahead, Bobby. You were saying something.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. That will come with time. But if there's an announcement that he's walking through the door tomorrow, I would be surprised if there are Chelsea fans that won't welcome him. Crikey, we welcomed Lukaku. I never wanted Lukaku for a minute. But as soon as he put on that shirt and came up with all his BS, I was okay, mate. I'm right behind you until
Okay,
now.
mate.
So with Declan Rice, it will definitely be the same and more, because he actually came through the academy. He left and swore he'll come back, and he's been twerking for Chelsea ever since. So of course we're going to welcome him. Now, if he doesn't do well, that's another matter. If he does well, he'll become a cult hero, just like all
Everybody
the
will
other
forget
lads.
about who even those that didn't want him will keep. I think they will support him. But if he underperforms, they will turn against him. That's Chelsea for you. But if it comes, I think he'll do well. I just don't think Chelsea's the best fit for him. That has always been my argument, and also the transfer fee. But thank you for that update, Bobby.
Okay, guys, I've got to run, Coach. I'm working today, but I'll join you later. I think you've got another stream coming up.
Later. Yeah, evening show. Yeah, thank you very much, brother. I appreciate you finding time to
hey,
join.
Matt.
Yes,
Matt,
Bobby.
Ty, and I don't know who the lady is, but
Louisa.
hello to everyone,
Take care,
and I'll
man.
see you later.
Yeah.
Take care,
Okay.
Bobby.
Now, coming back to the panel quickly. Do I have anything to read here? I don't think there's anything I have to read here. Let me start with you, Matt, quickly. I know you'll be leaving soon. To your thoughts on the links to that is Jesus being linked to our club, and it's getting serious. It's getting serious. I heard that we've made inquiries. Your thoughts?
It's good we're making inquiries to a lot of different players. It's good that we're seeing, to a Manchester City player. I'm still not the biggest fan of Jesus. I'm not going to come here and advocate for him. If he joins, it is what it is.
Isn't he better than what we have? Wouldn't you
I'll
argue
explain
that?
that. I'll explain that. And he's not. You look at his stats. His stats are the exact same as our players. 9 and single digits. He's got the same stats as the same stats as Lukaku. It's the same stuff at a supposedly better club that he plays at. He's got De Bruyne next to him, the best credits, and he still doesn't have the better stats. Now, he doesn't play 100%. He played 2,000 minutes this season, so we can give him a bit of slack there, but then it comes down to can he even handle a full season then? But I'm still not the biggest fan of him because I don't think it fits our system. Number one, we're buying him to play where? As a striker? He's not even a striker. Pep forced him to play as a striker because they needed a striker. But when he was in the striker position, he played there for a couple months. He didn't fit the system. Come November, Pep stated and came out stating we're playing football without a striker and we're doing well, but we still need to go purchase a striker. Come August, they came and bought a striker. So for me, he's not a striker. So why would I bring someone who's not even already in that position? We already have Havertz for that. Havertz isn't a striker. We're putting him there. He's naturally a forward. He's a 10. He's a winger. He's not a striker. So why would we force him to come and play a role he's not fitted at? And these strikers, stats, as I said, 9 and 8. I'm not. If he joins, we'll see how it goes. I would prefer to play him as a forward player, not as a striker. But I'm not going to advocate for him because I don't think he'll be the best suitor for our forward line.
Here's the thing about Thomas Tuchel. You don't need to be an out and out striker. I think he would like Thomas. He would like Gabriel Jesus. He's this type of player in terms of the forwards he likes to play with. I'd prefer him playing with. Sorry.
He wanted him at PSG.
Yeah, I'd prefer him playing with a player who's actually played the false nine position because that's how he likes to, deploy his front men. He doesn't like an out and out striker. He hardly uses them. Even when he had 2 at PSG, he hardly used them. He had Cavani, he had Mauro Icardi, but he didn't use them that much. So I think, not looking beyond his stats, I think he'd do well under Thomas Tuchel against that. That's me. Go ahead, Ty. You were saying something.
I understand why people want him because he's very fluid. Exactly, he can play that false nine role. But personally, I still would rather a Dembele and a Rafinha. I wouldn't even go for a striker role. I wouldn't go for a player who could play in the striker. I don't think no striker could come in and fix our system. I would go for creative wingers. And Jesus is part of that creative forward line. He can score and he can assist, but he's not the best option for that. He's a great player, but he's not the best option for it. Dembele is a better option. Rafinha is a better option. Players who can score and create. That's what I would get because no striker is going to come in and fix our team, especially if he puts that number 9 shirt on.
Yeah, Ty, your thoughts before I bring in Louisa so we can call it a day.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, with Jesus, I think, or whatever, I don't know. I'm just gonna call him Gabriel. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. There's so many different pronunciations. With him, I think it's a case of like Mark was saying, is that he isn't the greatest as a striker. Obviously, when he first joined Man City, that was where he was being played. Didn't really work out. Then he moved into the right. And he started to see him be more effective there. The thing is, people are making these potential front three attack and not considering the fact that he's not a striker. Yes, on paper it looks as if Havertz and Jesus up top would be the most ideal thing, but I mean he isn't a player like that. I think he's probably better playing as a wide forward, and as a wide forward, it allows him to be wide, be able to create, and then on the occasion probably try to take a shot and score. The thing is, I know people are looking at him as a Lukaku replacement, but I don't necessarily see that as the case. And I mean, for me, I think that the best thing to do is to if it's possible and if it's sensible to get him in, then try to. but it's important to know what role he will be playing if he comes in. And for me, I don't think he's a striker. I don't think that he's his cup of tea. I think it's better to
Mhm.
play wide and then see what happens there. But I think Jesus is what, 25, probably 26, and he's a player that can do something if he's used properly. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. You see, that's the point, just Viola. Jesus, I don't know.
So
Jesus.
Or
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. It's just
Jesus.
is probably she's probably trying to she likes to shame me in public.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but at
but
least at least I'm
it's
taking
not
it away
gonna
from you.
work now.
I'm taking it away from you. So don't worry. I'll take it
Yeah,
from you
thank
for
you.
today.
Deflected. So Ty, do
Yeah.
you think he will work? You think he will work if he comes to Chelsea?
If he's used properly, and I mean if he's used properly, yeah, I think it's pretty possible. But I mean it all depends on what happens. So
Yeah. Again, before I go to Louisa to round up the show for the day, I'm going to say thank you to Queen of the House for finding time to join. You explained how busy you were going to be today, but still, you did find time to join. That's great. And they immediately started trying to shame me in public, but I'm fine. So, Louisa, your thoughts on Gabriel Jesus? You think it's going to work for us? Should we even be looking at him, or do you think it's a for you? Is it a no?
The thing is, I feel like I have to keep reiterating this whenever I speak about a player, so that by the time the season rolls around and it's not working well, I can have my plausible deniability. The thing with Jesus is that if it's there for the taking and it makes financial sense, we should go after him. And what people fail to understand is that Lukaku and Havertz, they are not. Jesus is not the replacement for Lukaku and Havertz. He plays a completely
No, but
not
should we
like.
be looking to sign another type Lukaku type of player after learning that it won't work? But go ahead.
I feel like Thomas kind of role does not suit a Lukaku kind of player, except Thomas is willing to cave on its own kind of play, because
Hmm.
Lukaku needs a more direct team, while Tuchel kind of likes to play the ball around and see what the defense of the opposition gives you in terms of, did they open up after you pass around the whole field for the whole maybe for 30 minutes, will they open up for you to insert one in, which is not what Lukaku, which is not plays to Lukaku's strength. But we've seen that my problem here with Lukaku is that Lukaku is a good enough player to play at Chelsea.
Hmm.
The only problem is that the system has not worked for him, and he also has not found a way to make the system work for him. There are players like that who we know them to play a certain role in their previous team, but come up to a new team and are able to like kind of adjust or find a way to make themselves comfortable in that role. So I feel like if Jesus, and another thing here is the parallel between and City and Chelsea. People are trying to draw a parallel between City and Chelsea. Same thing with the Sterling issue. People are saying Sterling will not get enough chances that he gets at City, at Chelsea. Obviously, that's true because we don't create as much as they do create. But it's coming into a completely different team. And if he's a smart player, he's going to find a way to make this new team work for his style of play. And I feel like he's 25. He's someone we can take a chance on. He has played in City, he has played in like a really high level system for a really long time. And if we are going after him and it comes at a sensible rate, and Thomas wants him, because then again, Thomas needs to want the player, because then he's going to play the player. Because I feel like that was part of the issue with Lukaku. Lukaku was an option for Tuchel, but he wasn't really the person Thomas wanted in his system. So if Thomas wants him, fine and good. We should go after him, because I happen to like what he's been doing so far with the team. So I feel like if he wants a player, then maybe he knows what he wants to use the player to do. So
Yep.
yes, on the Jesus deal, if it makes sense financially, which it should, because I feel like City wants to get rid of him with their new influx of players that they are bringing in.
Yeah, yeah, I think it makes sense. I think
The
they
agent is the one that has offered him, though.
sorry.
The agent is the one that offered him, though.
Yeah, because he sees he wants they want to sell him really, but really the question is this: Pep usually likes to keep a large squad, so it remains to be seen whether he let Jesus and Raheem Sterling leave in the same window. But we'll see what happens. Again, Ty, I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. I'll make sure to provide the link to the social of both Louisa, who's joined the Chelsea Perspective team, Ty's website, all his social media information. I will provide them in the comment section, in the description section. Let me try and catch up here. Again, just Viola. Okay, I would get in his use if we can. He will work. He's Thomas Tuchel's preferred kind of striker, if you ask me. His use is not a finisher. You think so? I think he'd do better than what we have. I'd argue that, okay, I don't know the Portuguese pronunciation. Okay. Yeah, again, I'd rather keep Werner over his use. Okay, again, that's you. I know Todd, but Werner would want to leave, and I'm hearing that Thomas Tuchel will listen to offers for Werner. Again, did I hear Pulisic and also Hakim Ziyech? But it remains. Let's see what happens. With that, we've come to the end of the show, and I want to say thank you very much to Louisa for finding time to join, even though it's a
It's nice to
marathon
meet you
show.
as well.
But it looks like she enjoyed it quite well. This is your first time on the panel, right? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said yes. Yeah, you did quite well. I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed. So again, that's the future is bright on what we can do together on Chelsea Perspective. And thank you to my brother Ty from Ty Talk CLC. If you haven't, be sure to go check out his channel. Great content. And again, it's crossed the 200 subscriber milestone, and we're looking to help him to get to 300 as soon as possible. So I'll keep talking about it, and probably during the evening show, I will talk about his channel even more, and I will share the link to his channel. And I want to say thank you to everyone in the chat, including True Blue, who's been, who stayed till the end of the show and he's been providing us with great information, and also in Life No Limits with great input. Also, everybody else, Christian Henry, Just Viola, the Queen of the House herself, Phantom of Many Topics was on the panel, Chelsea the Kingslayer, thank you very much for the great input. And Liam also, thank you very much for the great input. And everybody else, if I missed your name. And Chronostan also was here. It's been a minute we haven't seen in a while, but I hope everything is good on your end. And with that, I want to ask you, if you haven't, please do like the video and also subscribe to the channel. See you guys later in the day for the evening show. God bless us all, and bye.